Welcome to Modern Mythology, a podcast that explores the many intersections of story and system. For more information about this episode, articles, or links to our other related projects, visit modernmythology.net.
All right, well, we are very excited to be playing Echoes of the Veil and welcoming Raffi to the designer to our little auxiliary session here. We're going to be talking about this great project. We did play CBR+PNK the other day, which will get released at some point, in the future. But this isn't time for Raffi's Kickstarter, which we'll talk about later on. So, Raffi, take it away.
Sure. Hi, everybody. Yes, so Echoes of the Veil is a hack of CBR+PNK, which is based on Forged in the Dark system, for folks out there who want to know a little bit more.
I love how it's called a hack.
Yes. Yeah, it's a hack. I like it's a standalone hack. So I think everybody's currently looking at the character sheet right now, and that's in development. And we'll talk about this more. It's one of the Kickstarter's small stretch goals, but as you open it, you're gonna see you have angles and new angles that we came up with to fit the world and more of the cyberpunk vibe that we're going with. So first of all, obviously, get your angle, describe your vibe, your look. Then you can either pick your angle first or you can pick your path first. So it depends on your flavor. So we came up with like different paths. Mm-hmm. Just to streamline things a little bit. So say here, every runner follows a path. What's yours? And you have 4 different options in here. You can be a prime runner, which essentially is someone who has no magic. So you can't put any dice in a tune, but you get extra things with your augmentations. Because that's what you would like tech. You're more of an old school tech person. Then you can be an attune. So you have to put a dice in a tune, but you can channel magic, but you can't use relics or weird stuff that channel that magic for you. And we have some really cool weird stuff and weird mods that we came up with that I can share.
Yeah, I'm definitely seeing more of the weird like on here than the original. That's cool.
Yeah. We really I'm a big fan of magic, so I, really wanted to bring the magic for Cyberpunk, like to the forefront, really push it. Yeah. I think it's so cool.
That's how I usually run Cyberpunk campaigns.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think of like Shadow Run.
Right. Yeah. The setting of Shadow Run's amazing. The rules, no.
Exactly my point. I love the magic system. Painful. Or you can be sparked, which means you can either pick a meta talent or a meta heritage. Came up with 5 different cool meta talents I'll share with you, and also 6 different meta heritages. Or you can be awakened, which is like double magic. So you have both a meta talent and a meta heritage, and you have to have 2 dice in it too. So yeah, based on this information that you have, you can start filling some of that stuff out. If you do want to take a look at the magic stuff, I can pass these around for you if you want to check it out. I definitely recommend at least one character in this run to have magic.
Definitely doing a spark.
Okay.
So this says Ghost.
The Ghost Jacker.
Ghost Jacker, Channeler,
Veil Runner,
Shifter, and Whisperer.
Yes.
Whisperer and Channeler were from the original game. Awesome.
So the difference is that in the weird plugin, which is awesome for CBR+PNK, the difference that we made here is that now each of these different paths have their own set of weird consequences and weird drawbacks. So your magic always comes at a cost, right? So, but for each path, we choose a weird consequence and a weird drawback that makes sense. for the path that you're choosing. In the CBR+PNK weird, you have like general weird drawbacks and weird consequences that are not, related to your particular path. So, for example, for the Whisperer, one of your drawbacks is you have to start hunted, and some things start to malfunction in your life, like reality can glitch, like, for example, clocks never show the right time, or money transfers fail, or tech glitches around you, like comms scramble. And this is all the things you can work on narratively. Like the Veil Runner, you have to do certain like resist or like brace tests in order to be able to continue to use your magic and so on.
Well, I am actually going to be a Whisperer.
Cool.
And my street name is Baron.
There.
And I have a top hat.
Baron Samedi, so yeah.
I have a top hat. I have lots of jewelry, but I also have a very little Otherscape kind of touch point. I have like a very heavy augmented reality shell. Like I see myself as like part whisperer, part hacker.
Ooh.
But my hacking is more in an aesthetic. Like I would ostensibly be like an AR designer, and so like because I'm all about fear. I'm all about like presentation and presence and like making people do what I want because they're either afraid of the consequences or whatever the case is. So.
Sweet. Okay, so because you're a Whisperer, you're going to start as hunted.
Yep.
That's one of your drawbacks.
Yep.
And some funky thing that you want to choose. Like some of the suggestions here are like some things malfunction in your life, like reality is glitching or tech glitches around you. Just pick like something for flavor that we can have, that will make sense for you narratively.
I think I'm going to play like an ex-military conspiracy theorist.
Love it.
The tunes, but not like, fully meta.
Ooh, okay.
It's kind of like, I mean, at least, by his story, and maybe it's true, maybe it's not, sort of like, I'm ex-special ops, and I've seen some shit, and like, I've seen, a piece of the truth, trying to find the truth, learn the truth of because, what's it called?
Angle?
Yeah. He's probably like in his 50s or 60s, so he's old for a runner for sure.
Do you have a name? Of your handle?
Well, I was thinking of his handle's Doc, but no one knows what his name is. People just call him Doc. He's not a doctor.
I'm drawn to the shifter. Definitely escaped from a lab. And we'll have to decide on exactly why people would fear me, but the meta drawbacks is my body resets in unexpected ways. That's fun.
Yep. When you take a breather, if you roll a 1 and 2, then that will happen.
Nice. I like how concrete that, well, to some extent, and concrete that is, and then determining that outcome.
What was your angle, Baron? Did you choose an angle?
Yeah, I'm going to do Transcend.
Ooh.
Mark so deep lives after you're gone.
So for skills, the runners are specialists, tend to be specialists. So to kind of like make that happen a little bit more, we went with assigning, instead of just like you have 8 points, you assign them however you want.
Yep.
You have to pick at least 2 skills where you have 2 points in them.
Okay.
Where you're called an expert. And then you can pick the rest skills of 1 point, but leave 5 skills untrained.
But you can't have...
In essence, you have to have 2. You have to have 2 with 2, and then the rest plays out.
Oh, yeah. That was easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to say, I mean, it's one of the things that I love about CBR+PNK, and this also, I just love that this is the game. I love that I just have to look through this character sheet, and it's all on there.
Yeah. So, one of the goals for me that was really important was making sure that the rules were clear. So if you were to like really look into the character sheet, the more complex rules have examples on them, like the action rules.
The only question I have is with edges. Do they cost more to take an edge on something, or how's that work?
It costs the points
Okay.
of the skill.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. But if you were to pick Prime Runner, which nobody did, which is totally fine, Prime Runners get a free specialization dice on it, just because they don't have the benefits of Maverick.
Actually, maybe I will pick Prime Runner since we don't have one, and it's kind of funny that he says he's seen some shit and he probably hasn't.
It's like old school. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, so since we're picking Prime Runner, let's talk about the augmentations, because it's a little bit different system than what it is on CBR+PNK.
Okay.
So with CBR+PNK, if you have an augmentation, you start with one for free, right? This system, we really thought it would be really cool, actually, if that didn't happen. And if you actually had to visit a Ripper dock to get that installed. So you actually start with no augmentations for free. When you want to declare an augmentation, you declare it. You essentially do a flashback for free, and then you visit this Ripper dock. And depending on your role, and depending on what kind of Ripper dock you choose, you can choose an expert or a rookie. Then you spend stress. If you want to see an expert, which is probably going to install everything fine for you, you're not going to get any consequences, you spend 1 stress on that because you're a Prime Runner, so you get discounts on stress. If you want to choose a rookie, it's free for you, but you might get really messed up. So I'm not going to tell you the cool things that happen on the rolls, because I want you to be surprised. But it's essentially the same thing. If you roll 1 to 2, something happens. If you roll a 3, something happens. A 4, a 6, and so on. And I have my Ripper dock table over here. It just made really more fun in the sessions that we've been play testing it. So
sure, yeah, if it's a flashback, that makes sense.
Yeah. And I mean, you have to have it installed, so it's kind of like, okay, let's see how that goes. So, my ground rules that I like to do usually are, I like to bring it back to what the cyberpunk genre is, or what it was in its roots designed to play as, which is corporations and cops are the enemy, guys. They are not your friends, okay? So I just want to make that clear. Corporations and the cops are not our friends in the cyberpunk genre. And I love
just there, though.
I mean, in all my genres, but, for me, absolutely all the genres. But, like so many other systems that we play may not have that upfront 10% political root in it, and the cyberpunk genre is one of them that does have that.
Yeah.
Just ask everybody to be present and respectful to each other, and like share the spotlight. I always thought this one place. There's always a player that likes to do a little bit more than the other. So it's like, if you feel like you're talking more than the other people, you probably are. Maybe let's give everybody a chance to share the spotlight. Narrative consent is a big thing, so I'm never gonna make the decisions for your characters or for your runners. I'm always gonna check in with you about that. And this run, there will be some sensitive topics. So for this run, there will be militarization of police in general, things like social inequality, potentially talking about addiction, capitalist systems, moral gray zones. So if any of those sounded like you don't want to touch.
Well, we love moral gray zone.
Okay. Well, I think this run will be very cathartic for a lot of people. I'll just say that. So are we ready to dive in?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'll just do a little bit of world setting over here. And I'll also give you a little visual. So you are in a place called the Neon Spires, which is a mega city that is stacked high, vertically constructed. So all of the neighborhoods and everything you see in the map are not horizontally constructed. They're all vertically constructed. And the world's wealthiest people found Eden Tech, which is the current mega corporation that was behind this land theft. They kept building upward and they kept extracting and taking, leaving the communities below to collapse under their weight. And these underground districts eventually caved in and they were swallowed by what we are calling the first abyss. Literally, all of these green lines that you see on the map are fractured territory and chasms that have occurred not by nature, but by human hands that were chasing wealth, kept digging and digging to build their vertical empire. And Eden Tech failed to suppress magic many, many times. The weird, that inner supernatural power that we all possess, you want to say. And it's been active for the past 5 years or so. So you have it, you possess it, right? So that's a little bit of the setting. All right. So are we ready to come in hot?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're all going to start inside a ride car, this black modded van.
Mm-hmm.
You see the skyline is carved with chrome and this blood red tint. Spotlights are sweeping the toxic polluted smog that's in the city. Sirens are howling in the distance. And the Edge District, which is the neighborhood that you are in right now, are split into riot zones by police named Kairos. They're militarized police. They look like armed gods with no mouths. And you're all sitting inside of this van. So maybe now it's a good time to introduce your characters a little bit.
Tall, very dark, very androgynous individual.
Great.
Top hat, festooned in various jewelry, rings, and I'm gonna jump right into a flashback of getting a internal AR projector that would, be some sort of bonus to influence or empathy rolls.
Ooh.
And it's definitely like AI generated interacting with my environment. So if anybody's like plugged into the AR at all, they'll see like me talking to somebody that's not there or someone like leaning over their shoulder or whatever the case is. It's just this idea that there's this like, I'm just this walking community. I have this like spiritual entourage that's going with me.
Love. Mark a stress for that.
I really I'm already hunted. But I really like that it's glitched. I really like the idea that yes, it's tech and yes, it's AI, but I'm not really in control.
I like that. Okay.
And I'm going to call that the crossroads routine.
So Doc, he looks kind of like, like your stereotypical like pot dealer in the 90s, kind of got like long straggly hair. He is oftentimes talking about like, his days in like the military. It's never quite clear what military or what campaign, and a lot of people probably think he's like BSing, except for the fact he is really good at just disappearing and like has some uncanny skills for someone who like, seems like but at the same time, he makes up a lot of stuff too. So you never really know with Doc. But yeah.
Do you think you know each other?
I'm guessing if we're on some sort of mission, we at least know each other through like the grapevine, if not like, good friends or whatever.
I think we're a crew. I'm not going to say we've been together very long.
Yeah.
Because
I'd be fine with that. Yeah.
Christopher will have recently escaped. So I haven't had a chance for that. So CRISPR is, I have him described as like a human predator. So this is where just imagine the mug, but it's human. And so really fugly and scares any kind of regular person they come in contact with, the taking up too much room in the car because his massive legs are just, spread wide and just taking up the seat. His skin is slightly discolored, like pale, but in a not in a sickly way, and in a sort of an energized way. Like,
sort of like the Harkonnen in Dune.
Yeah. Certainly looks like maybe he's taking too many oil baths.
Right.
And the outfit is something that's not off the rack normal. It's really just sort of straps that are tied to him. Like imagine Lilu in Fifth Element, right? She's wearing just kind of straps. This is kind of the same thing, but they're black straps, you know.
Basically wearing BDSM gear.
Yeah. Too much flesh.
Yeah.
That's great. It's like both people are like all like crowed out, like looking out, and then you have Shaggy sitting there.
Yeah. I was like, get Dexter.
Hey guys.
Nice.
It's not your day. Heavily loaded, but you're not seeing any of the gear. So wherever it is.
We'll get to the load in a minute.
Yeah.
We'll get to the load in a minute. Awesome. Yeah. So you sit there for a minute, and then you see this hollow pulsing, and you see this logo of this like hand and this like eye come up, and then this voice appears, soft voice, and it's a woman, and she says, "We are from the Hope Lab. I'm sure you know about us. Otherwise, we believe under a rock, but make sure to give your spill. We really need your help. We devote our lives to combating the world's cynicism through science, magic, and of course, burning the status quo here and there. And that's when you come in.
Mm-hmm.
There's a prototype called Sentient Harmonization Core V7. I need you to deliver it to the Cairo's Enforcement HQ. Kairos are military
I thought they were
guys.
anti-establishment.
So he was hearing and the distance in the car. It's just outside of their main base. It's heavily guarded. Officially, this prototype is a test, but unofficially, it's insurance for us. Don't open this crate. Don't scan it. Don't try to talk to it. Just deliver this before the next raid cycle starts, or we're cooked. The compensation will be wired. Once the delivery is confirmed, are you in?
Yes.
I look at the others and like kind of like just nod but keep my mouth shut.
Affirmative.
Great. The hollow disappears, and you hear this little hum in one of the seats, and this little box pops out. Little crate, Sentient Harmonization Core V7.
Hey, I don't trust them. There's something going on here. Of course, Doc always says that.
Yeah. Can't be on the up and up and be a lab and working with the Kairos.
Not at all.
The van stops, and you hear, "This is your final destination. Exit."
So there's like a slow motion scene of like the van door opening.
Yep.
That's all like, getting out, the Predator, the Predator music. It's like, dun, 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 where are we?
And then we realized we all forgot the crate.
Yeah.
I reached back and
That's
grabbed.
the crate.
Chris will grab it.
Yeah.
Yeah, big palm. Take it one-handed, and
We love that. Okay, so you are dropped off in this place called Silent Quarter. It is, I think, all the way to the bottom over there, right?
Yep. That's
Yep.
Yep.
You
On the
need to
edge.
deliver the box all the way up to the narrow zone over there. I think it's over here.
How far is that?
I'd say about an hour-ish.
I love, we're like realizing where we had to go, and we turn around and be like, wait, why don't we take the van drugs off?
But the thing is, there's a huge chasm in between where you are right now and where you need to go.
How do people normally get between them, or is there not usually?
You don't, because they're usually at the people from the up. They do, because they have connections with their towers. But the folks, the communities from below, finds all sorts of creative ways to try and cross to the chasms. because they don't have access to, air vehicles like hovers. These are only reserved to the ultra rich from the upper world,
And then we
right?
got a hang glider.
Way to limit mobilization and
Limits
more than one
mobilization.
way to.
But, there are all sorts of people who know people who, may be able to guide you to find your way. So you're dropped off here at this like silent quarter zone. It's called the silent quarter because it used to be a vibrant place where there's a lot of art and murals. And it was once a beacon of, a lot of expression, like artistic expression. But right now it's just dead silent and it's unsettling. It's unsettling. So you guys are just dropped off there. What do you do? Like, how do you want to approach this mission, you think? Like, let's not come up with a full plan because that's not how the system is, right? So like my friend James liked to talk about this moment as like, think of this as a heist movie moment, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, you don't see how the planning goes. Like, you don't see a lot of the planning scenes. Mm-hmm. You just kind of cut off to the moment. And you don't always know what the runners are doing, but you trust that they have a plan. Like, trust that you have a plan.
Right.
And as the GM, I'll back up that. But not a lot of planning.
And what are the approaches? Are we using
the same aggressive, empathetic, smart, or stealthy? But I just thought right now, how do you want to approach the situation? Like, what's your quick plan about this?
Right. Do any of us have any contacts that would?
We need to find somebody that knows how to get across.
Right. Maybe we could, because we could use possibly an empathetic approach. That would be the contacts approach. Mm-hmm. So like we could like find a coyote, as an example,
Mm-hmm.
And the other way is we could go up and over. That would be the stealthy approach.
If there's shipments that are sent both ways by the people,
that would probably be the smart approach
or stealthy. I mean, if we're going into like into like a cargo, that'd probably be my vote.
And while you're all thinking, I'm just gonna start the first block of the session because the police raid is gonna happen in 6 counts. So y'all have some time constraints before the next police raid cycle happens.
Are there like 6 actions, or is it like?
Well, it depends on how I feel about it.
Okay.
Maybe you do shit that alerts a lot of people and causes chaos.
Yeah.
Maybe that's 2 marks in here, So
I think you should go in stealthily.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so stealth. You wanna?
So do you want to start that, and then we can figure out what we do from there?
Yeah, and how stealthily are you planning on?
Well, what I'm looking for is like they've got to ship goods back and forth, right? Or if we can get ourselves into one of those like shipments, we can go in without being seen. Of course, we might have to like curl up into a little ball and be uncomfortable, but hey,
Yeah. Okay. So let's say that there is like a shipment facility, like 15 minutes from here that you can get yourselves into.
Cool.
Yeah. Let's go with that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you walk in there, like.
So you have a ride.
Vehicle. You can declare a vehicle. You can do a flashback. You can, utilize the more than we can.
So since we just took a van here, I'm assuming we don't have vehicles with us.
That's right.
I do have a setup action, so I'm not going to go with you guys.
Okay.
I'm going to do a flashback setup action as a distraction.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I'll let you two decide, like visualize you going into the shipment facility kind of thing, and now we'll flashback to.
I think we'll take it on foot.
Yeah, I say like
probably
I
have to
walk. I just make a little stop off somewhere. Don't worry about it. Just a little stop off. It's fun.
I'm not waiting.
No, it shouldn't take but a minute. Just but a minute. And we can cover the flash if we want to, but I'm thinking my loadout. I'm going to basically go into an alley and come out with my gear that I like stashed there.
Sweet. Yeah. So let's declare our load right now. Are we thinking light, medium, heavy?
I'm going medium.
Medium. Yeah.
I'm going heavy.
All right. Great for stealth.
Yeah.
Okay, carrying all that. You're sitting there wearing all. All right.
Yeah. So you guys are walking, going into, say you said you were walking, right? To the warehouse.
Yeah, I mean, but also keeping sort of eyes and ears to the street, trying to be I want to say inconspicuous, but I don't think CRISPR is being inconspicuous,
Right.
but he's not interacting with people, but also, getting a sense of, what's going on the street.
Yeah.
But we're going to try and find this place, assuming we have to go vertical to get to it. And then, once we get into the building.
Mhm.
But in the meantime, is there anything we can get from the atmosphere on the ground level?
Yeah, I mean, there are people around. It's one of those weird places where it's very silent, but it's like creepy silence. But there are people going around. There are like bars, there are like establishments going towards this warehouse with the shipments, and you see a group of people as you're walking towards that warehouse. They kind of look at you upside down.
I give him a salute, so I'll bye.
Why are you going? Don't look like you're from here.
What's to you?
What you doing on our turf?
Oh, this is your turf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going for a stroll.
Yeah, you got
Oh.
you got to pay the toll, buddy.
Toll, huh?
Yeah.
What's a toll?
As you can see, I don't have any creds on me, so yeah.
What about the gear that you have?
Oh, these were given to me by a relative. They're very sentimental.
How many people are we talking about?
Yeah, three. He like laughs at you. Reaches for his pistol.
So you sure you want to do that?
I'm sure you're in our turf. Are you gonna give us the gear? One or not? You got 3 seconds.
I say, yeah, sure. I start reaching down. I pull a pistol out.
Oh, all right. And we have our first roll of the session over here. Okay, so we're gonna declare that pistol.
Yep.
All right. Declare that gun. What are we doing here? Are we doing some ranged combat?
And we're pretty close. I mean, basically, I'm going to see if they stand down. If they seem like they're going to keep going and try to fight, then
Absolutely. And you see the other guys already reaching.
Okay, then,
One reaching for the blade. The other one's reaching for the pistol.
Then, yep.
They coming at you.
Then
No doubt.
I'm going to try to take them down.
All right.
Yeah. I'm going to take a go at them approach.
Take a go at them.
Yeah.
What are you doing about it? What are you using? Are you using gear? Are you using your magical abilities?
I'm going at the one with the blade and just gonna physically take that from him.
Okay.
Nice.
What did it approach? Aggressive? I imagine?
Oh yeah.
Okay. What about
Intimidating and aggressive. Yeah.
Okay. What about Doc?
So my preferred approach is, I mean, I imagine he was a sniper, or he says he was a sniper. So like stealthy shooting is usually his preferred, but obviously that's not this situation. So I think it's aggressive. I mean, he's pulling a gun and firing it like almost point blank range. So
Absolutely. All right. Let's roll.
all right, cool. So my high is 4, so the partial, right?
Okay. What about
You want me to go?
Yeah.
Sure.
We kind of did them together.
Oh,
I got a 5 and
You got a 6 there.
can you see the
That
6?
matters.
yeah, 6 is the white one.
Oh, that's a 6. Yeah, there you go. Sorry, I'm looking at the.
Dang.
I got the 5. I got 2 5s.
Yeah,
2.
This
six
is
is
the
high.
highest
The
roll.
highest
one. Just-
The highest number.
Yeah.
Yeah, that matters. So that's a full-on success. Yours was still a success.
I'm hoping we take out 2 of these guys and the third guy thinks better of it.
Yeah. How do you want your
This is how this
success?
usually goes. I take on 2 enthusiastic,
Yeah.
and
How do
the
you
other
want your
2.
success to look like? You tell me how you want that to look like.
I get up close. I get next to the guy faster than he expects me to.
Yeah.
And I take the knife from him, like just grab it out of his hand. And unless he goes to move away, I'm just going to take him out.
Yeah. He's like, oh, and like just sprints out. One guy's out. All right. You still got a success. So we do actually shoot.
Yeah, as soon as I see them moving, I fire.
Fire. Okay. So tell me what that looks like when fire. How
I mean,
does
it's like, point blank range towards his chest, and kind of on the center mass, and just and firing. And seeing, kind of trying to fall back afterwards a little bit.
That sounds good. So that was a success, but let's see what the consequences might be. Well, maybe let's say that you know what, the guy that ran away, actually, he's probably going to alert other people. I think that's what's up. So unless you guys get out of there fast, there might be backup coming. Does that sound fair?
Duck into that building, yeah.
Okay. All right. So just want to go back to Baron over there because I know you're out in the scene. But is there anything else you want to prep or are you doing?
Yeah, I am actually like in the periphery, just trying to, I'm trying to visualize this. So I think I unfortunately probably am there because my distraction would be when
Coming later.
they get across, right? So I'd still be
None of
with
us
you
were expecting
guys,
that.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like tailing us.
Well, I'm with you.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? I think I'm still walking with you.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
kind of idea.
So, okay. Yeah. Mhm.
You know, but let them handle the aggressive stuff. I'm not that kind of person, you know. And, you know, I think I would have wanted to talk my way out of that whole process, but I'll let them.
It's not they wanted to talk.
Yeah, let them handle them.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'll just sort of be taking cover, you know, kind of idea.
Yeah. So I think this is a perfect opportunity because you are a whisperer.
Yeah.
And since you've been kind of like not in the heat of the moments there, you feel even without any type of role, but simply because you have that tune you have the weird magic tune, you have a tune. You start hearing this almost like a heartbeat coming out of the box. Only you are hearing this now because you are removed from that. You are kind of like connected in this moment. It's almost like, you know, in a movie when it's just like kind of like you have this like chaotic thing and then it's just kind of like just pans on you and everything out kind of like disappears. And it feels like almost like the whole world is silent and all you can hear is this like calling to you, almost like communicating without the language, the words, but you feel the communication. You don't know exactly what it is, but you feel like a line of communication.
Sure.
Right? That's it. Okay.
So with my shot, did the guy go down or is he like kind of just like
He's like
Okay. All right. But I'm kind of falling back a bit. And if I can take an action, I will try to take out the guy who's running away.
Ooh, all right. Okay. So I'm gonna say this is gonna be not an easy one because this is kind of out there, you know, so your effect on this one probably gonna be a 1.
It's because of range.
Because of the range. And you already started going and you already got 1, but you can push yourself.
Yeah.
And the threat's gonna be at 2. I'll say so the threat level. So just to, I guess, I should have done that in the first roll. I'm sorry. Sometimes I forget to set the threat and the effect level. So essentially it's like effect is, you know, how much of success you're gonna have into this. And then you have your threat level. And you can decrease those simultaneously. Right, so if you increase your effect, the threat also goes up. So you can have more, but it's gonna become more dangerous. But if you succeed, you get a lot more. And you can also decrease the threat by decreasing your effect, so you have less of a payoff, but less of a consequence.
I imagine he probably has a rifle with him, like a sniper rifle, but it's probably in pieces in like a carrying case right now. It's probably not constructed, so otherwise it would be good for long range. But you should take a shot, or you want to bolt?
I think we'll be gone by the time you can come back.
All right.
I say as much. I say, you know, like if you're going to take out your weapon,
right?
I can be like
I start lining it up, and you're like,
I'm like, let's get to the building.
All right. Then I start bolting.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay. So the bolting towards the warehouse, all right, you get there, you're going your way stealthy, you're shooting your way there all right, you get there. You found a spot, you found an entry point. And you want to go about it.
I'm looking to go vertical. I mean, how can we get up?
Okay.
Yeah.
So you tell me, how do you think you want to climb up into this
like
structure?
service elevators or anything like that we might be able to spec out?
Yeah, sure. We can do that.
Okay.
And how do you think you're going to get through the door to get through the elevator?
Right.
Definitely, you know, it's a secure facility.
Right.
Are they like tech locks, like something I could use technology on?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I could try to pick my way in, as it were, or like hack it, depending on what kind of lock it is.
Okay. You anything about the cameras, or just gonna try to do things as quickly as possible and hope for the best?
Yeah. And he is like a paranoid type, so he definitely would think of that.
Okay.
No, I didn't. So like, yeah, if I see cameras, I'm gonna turn to you and say, we should take the cameras out, but it's only, if someone's watching it, they'll know they went out, but they won't see anything.
Yeah, because I mean, you stand out like a sore thumb. So
He does not you.
okay, a little ironic.
Yeah. I got a rep,
Well, can I give you some suggestions here? Just because the shifter is a new thing.
No, I'm thinking about it.
Okay.
I know that's why I'm telling him he stands out, because I don't have to.
That's right. I mean, you can turn into literally anything you want.
I'm looking for a name tag or something.
All right. Okay. All right.
Like I think I know you're a shifter, but I don't really know like just the details. So oh, all right, I'll follow your lead then. Oh, what if I came in as a janitor?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll try and find. I mean, actually, if you got access to the system, can you bring up an image of any of the personnel?
That's right. So, want to gather some information?
Yeah, I can
or you
try.
can do a flashback. Honestly, I think that's more suitable for flashback rather than.
Yeah, thing is, I'm more of a tech. I'm not like a coder. My last character I was playing is not a coder, but he's more of like tech. So I can like build and disassemble things, electronics, that sort of
right. Okay, so
yeah. So you could do a flashback and say, you met with the janitor the previous night. You know what it looks like. You got this face. Then you can just turn it on.
Okay. Yeah, that would work for sure. I mean, because really, if I'm, my character already kind of looks like the role. He just needs to wear like the right uniform, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, say I, spec out the guy and probably very creepily, I'm like waiting outside his house for like an hour out front, like chain smoking, and once he takes off, I sneak in he has like a cat or something, leaps up, and I'm like scared for a moment, and then I go in and steal his clothes.
I think raid the locker. This is what I was thinking but the way of doing it is flashback, right?
Yes.
Raid the locker. We got the IDs.
Yep.
Get him a hat, because he definitely needs a hat.
Absolutely.
And then I'm going to use the shifter ability for the first time.
Sweet.
Flashbacks of stress, right?
Yeah, that's a simple flashback, so there's no stress. Yeah.
Yeah. And then just in terms of the loadout, and we talked about this last time we played, but let me know if this is all right. The knife that I grabbed, I'm just going to set it into a meaty part of, my arm here, and the flesh just kind of covers it up.
Ooh.
It's a holder, but there's still an outline of it. So the more outfitted I get with this stuff, sort of the bulkier my flesh becomes.
I love that.
The package, just for the sake of it, I will tie to my belt, so that's not something I'm gonna pull into me. But my outfit, my load, I'm gonna will be a part of me.
That sounds great.
And then for this shift, we've got I'll become smaller and appear as if I'm the employee with the name tag.
Awesome. So you got a shift for the first time. That's awesome. So mark 1 stress. So any meta activation is you got mark 1 stress for that.
Do we have comms?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So let's say where we're going to meet.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I will take some of the heat off of you, and I'll see you on the other side.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
And I'll walk towards
The chasm. Yeah. That's what I was thinking you would be done.
So as soon as you use your tune, you touch into magic, same thing with the box. Instead of hearing the heartbeat, because you're carrying it, you feel this vibration. It's almost like an X vibration.
Oh, I like it.
You're like, whoa, like what is happening? You feel this like this this deep connection. Maybe I don't know. Has a character felt something?
No, I was just thinking actually. I've spent too much time being poked and prodded in the lab. I mean, physical, a physical pleasure is something that's really foreign to him.
Right.
Yeah.
You feel that so deeply, like you almost want to cry a little bit. Like that type.
I'm not crying.
I'm not crying, you're crying.
Yeah.
I'd be like, hey, Chris, are you high? I didn't know you were into that sort of thing. Dude, I got some friends.
Yeah. I'm going to do another police raid over here just because y'all are taking your sweet time. Okay, so now we have 4 left.
I'd show up with my cart at the place at the time. Like, get out your cart. It's probably got guns inside of it.
Yeah, okay. So you go in.
Get cart into the service elevators.
Yeah, you going in, no problems. How about you? You're just walking in like a friend?
I'm going to the chasm, like I'm going to whatever is there, like a little wall or something like that, but like a dark alley ostensibly near this. And I take out a cigar and a thing of rum and some chalk, and I start like drawing on the wall of Ep.
All right. Okay. Just chilling there. Just wait. Okay.
Just wait.
Yeah,
All right.
and then go up the elevator.
Yep.
To the
Employees are coming in, coming by, but they seem fine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
and people get on the elevator, kind of like trying to be normal, but have that like a little bit of that bugged out vibe a little bit. But that's just because that's how he is.
You see someone else enter the elevator and says, "Oh, Jake, I didn't know this was their shift today."
I had to take some extra shifts.
That's funny because you're not in the system today, but better make sure to correct that because otherwise you're not
I'm not gonna get paid.
You don't get the creds otherwise, man.
Yeah, not gonna pay, dude. Like, go clock in or something because I just came back from management and you weren't there. I saw everybody's name there. So.
All right, we'll do.
All right.
Thanks, man.
They must have forgot to put him in for his extra hours.
Yeah, fucking managers, assholes.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
Oh man.
All right, you get into the floor. People get out.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Yeah. So we're going over to the spot where they is it like a distribution center or something? How they send things over.
Yep. You see people putting packages away, putting the stuff into this big like cargo things that have like gigantic cargo things that have like sort of like magnetic currents that make them like hover off the.
Is there like a place where they're clearly like loading this stuff in?
Yeah.
So it's like
sure.
I was thinking we just sneak into a box, but I don't want to sneak into a box that's like a crate, whatever that's going to be sitting there for a month when they're setting up.
Know which ones are going.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I imagine I got to use a stealth for that probably.
Okay. I mean, I'm not going to make a roll for that.
Okay.
That's fine. You just stealthily get into the thing and
after eyeing the box,
and
like,
you
that's
just
the
gotta
one.
hope for the best.
Well, we're going for like I said, we're going to observe for a moment to be like make sure they're the ones that they're loading up right now, and then get into that one of those.
Yeah, the next that the lift's coming to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you hear the guy, next shipment coming out of 41. And then you see right across from your eye, the 41 truck is about to leave.
Okay.
Now.
Oh no.
It's gonna pass by you.
Does it seem like something we could like jump on?
Absolutely.
All right, yeah, give it a shot then.
All right. You gotta go for it?
Yeah.
All right. That's probably a roll for this one.
Yeah.
Probably a roll for this one. I'm gonna say
trying to do it stealthy, so yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean the threat. Here's the thing: the threat may sound weird, right? Because it's like if people saw you trying to get into the thing, they may not necessarily think you're trying to. Maybe if you think you're trying to steal it,
Right.
So maybe it's just a threat to effect to like standard.
Okay.
Sounds like some athletic and something.
Yep.
Stealthy.
I'm thinking athletic and stealthy. I'm still trying to keep low and
All right.
Now, this is where I'm doing my setup action.
Tell me.
Because I'm ostensibly going to create a big distraction.
Hell
Right.
yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I am going to summon Gamism, the loa of travel between worlds. And my manifestation of that is, a large hologram-esque spirit who's going to whisk me across the gap, and is not in any way subtle whatsoever. So, like, the idea would be people be like, what the hell is that? While you guys are sneaking onto stuff.
That is so cool.
Fly over.
That is really freaking cool. Okay, so you're gonna summon this big ass spirit thing.
Yep.
Okay. So you're gonna mark a stress for that because you're activating your meta power.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And
describe to me how
and I'm also,
you know the spirit. Have you worked with the spirit before? Like,
I think this is probably someone who I'm pretty close to. I'm also going to mark stress to use my augment.
Sweet.
All right. So I think this is a tune. And probably, my magic is empathetic. I'm so empathetic and attuned, right?
Yep.
And I'm gonna have a glitch time, and I'm gonna have an edge from the augment.
Perfect.
And I'll use the edge.
Do you want to increase the effect or do you want to decrease?
I feel like I only need a level 2 effect to distract, right? To give them a die or whatever. So I think I'll lower the threat, right?
Lower the threat.
Yeah. That it's like an ooh and ah moment, right? More than anything else.
Yeah, you're launching fireworks. Yeah.
Right.
That sounds like a good plan.
All right. I only got 2 successes. I got 2 6s.
Oh, wow.
Whoa!
But I did get a 1 on the good side. So I will get an unresistible consequence.
Right.
Level 2
success.
consequence, not just any level. Level 2.
Level 2 unresistible consequence.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
But a critical success.
Right.
Well, you know what? Yeah, take the rap for that because it was a pretty cinematic move.
A critical success and getting a 1 on it. That's a fun top.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Brian, when you get catapulted, essentially, from the spirit, like
I think the distraction. Can I do the consequence? Do you mind?
Oh, absolutely. Please.
I think the distraction was too good. like there was just an immediate, like, what is this guy doing? Right. So you guys get all of you get the bonus, but I get shot down. I think that I get 2 harm. Because like drones kind of like come out of the walls and attack me as I get to the other side.
I love that. That is very fitting because totally wouldn't just be able to jump that thing without having a big consequence. I love it.
And so I definitely think I think I get like shot down
on top of the fireworks. The drone starts shooting tracer bullets to the sky.
It's just like
from both sides of the gorge.
I'm just this kind of I'm a big person, but I'm just this like ball in the middle of this big giant hologram, as the spirit sort of like, I see myself as like in the rib cage, you know what I mean? Like just part of the rib cage and get shot up.
Level 2 harm, you got it. You got some bullets in you, my friend. Oof. Yeah. So we'll come back to you guys so that we can do that in parallel. And when you're ready, Baron, we're going to have to do a closing ritual for your spirit to disappear.
Okay.
Successfully.
Sure.
Okay. But let you recover a little bit before. All right. So back to y'all. That is all happening.
So with that chaos, I'm trying to go low to the ground and just make a, stealthy run for it kind of situation.
And jump onto this 41 vehicle, 41 truck.
Yeah, so you have increased effect on this, right? Or no, it was decreased threat, right? You said you wanted to give them the edge, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
I think that's what you said. So so you're gonna have effect 2 and threat 1.
Right.
So that's good.
Cool.
So roll your athletics plus, I guess, stealthy.
I got 1 6.
Nice.
Still
All right. Ooh,
a 2 and a
amazing.
4. Not,
Okay. All right. I mean, both successes. You got into the little truck. You got into your little boxes there. However you want to do it.
I'll give him a little cargo container.
Little cargo container there. I don't know. Let's see. What would be a small consequence for you, my friend, the dog over here?
well, I'm able to fit
Yeah.
into the space pretty much no matter what, right? Like,
Oh, I mean, you have to activate your powers. So
do I want to? I was just going to do it for color. He can't fit as well.
yeah.
It's the hair.
What do you think would be an appropriate consequence for you in this moment?
Is it in terms of like not being able to fit well? Kind of.
That was just my suggestion. Yeah.
I mean, I could see him like having like muscle cramps on the other end from just having to be like curled into a ball for a while.
Yeah. Maybe could it be that maybe like
I could see a refrigerator truck would definitely make sense.
well, you tell me, do you want to lose a gear or do you want to get harmed? Do you want to be not refrigerated?
We'll go with the harm just because I think it's more cinematic.
That's fine. Okay. So you are in the refrigerated
Right.
truck.
And I feel like, why didn't we check this beforehand?
I'm fine.
I always forget something.
Yeah, you're like, I'm chilling.
Yeah. Might be a little bit reptilian slowed down. That's it.
No. Okay. So the thing is going. I mean, how are we planning on? I feel like the shifter way more chances of being chill in this moment, especially if you want to activate your power, which you probably will, because it's going to take.
Otherwise, you're going to freeze, right?
Otherwise, you're gonna freeze to death. But Doc, like, how are we treating this until we cross to the chasm? It's not going to be very long,
Right.
but still long enough to cause some damage over here.
Yeah. I've already taken one harm, right? So
Yeah.
Maybe just turn off the refrigeration. Like let's break.
I could.
Whatever's gonna get spoiled in here, I don't care about.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
But it's not gonna reduce. I mean, it's gonna keep the temperature from maintaining this cold, but at least it'll,
Yeah.
It'll still be cold, but it won't be
if we're breaking it anyways, it's basically like use my, probably shouldn't need it. Well, I'm guessing like use my tech knowledge, like be like, oh, that's the refrigeration unit.
Yes.
And, like
Use a technology roll.
Right.
Hell yeah. All right. Let's go for that.
Oh, good, because I was just gonna break it off the wall.
Well, that's what I
You
said.
can also assist. There are other things you can do an assistance.
Yeah, you
so
want
you
to
can
assist?
help by giving him an.
Yeah, I see him fiddling with
Nice
the
die.
proper equipment. Yeah, and aid him by just tearing it off the wall.
Why don't you make the roll and I'll give you the assist with the tech and stuff.
This is the piece you break.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so
So who's assisting?
I'm assisting. Yeah.
Okay, so you mark one stress for assistant,
Yep.
and you get an extra die.
Because otherwise, I didn't know
Which one to break.
what to destroy.
Exactly, yeah. Makes sense.
You get an extra die on that.
This is aggressive and
Yeah, you're basically just smashing it.
do I get an extra die on top of mine from the assist?
Yeah,
you do.
I need more.
Yeah.
No, because there's no Iron Man.
Yeah, I mean,
There's
Six to
just
five.
one partial success. So I
five is a full success, isn't it?
5 is part.
Oh, partial. Okay.
Yeah, I got
Yeah,
a 5. I got
highest.
5. That's the highest. Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. We break the damn thing. Okay. Here's some ideas for possible consequences. Right? Maybe you punch too hard.
Yeah.
You break other shit they're not supposed to break,
Yeah.
and maybe it like triggers the attention of the driver.
And if there's a driver or whatever is running it, that's
Yeah.
what I was thinking.
That's probably we're gonna go with that.
They're alerted to the fact that
You're alerted to the
no
fact.
longer working.
All right, we're gonna cut a little bit. Go back to Baron as you recover from the ground, and you hit the floor over there. Like you've got dirt all over you.
Yeah.
Yep.
What is this new environment like in this new section? What's it look like? Like how's it different?
Yeah, it's the narrow zone is like full of markets and like things to buy, right? And then to your right is the location that you have to go to where the police HQ is. So there's a lot of movement going on here. Nothing stealthy about this part of town. It'd be a little hard for you to get on your stealthy.
Sure.
But you're still not in the middle of the market, right? You're still like in the approaching zones of the market.
So I I think if it's okay, I think I did fly over the market.
Wow.
And there's lots of people like oohing and eyeing, you know what I mean? And I just like crash, into the market.
And into a cart of cabbages.
What's that?
How about your spirit? Is your spirit still around?
Yeah, I think so.
People are going terrorized, okay? Terrorized.
It is a giant neon skeleton.
People are running, grabbing their kids away like it's freaking chaos, like walking over all the market things, like, yes, chaos.
I will thank my brother and see him off.
You gotta dismiss him. Okay,
Yes.
we're gonna do a closing ritual right now.
Sounds good.
So pick your approach, close a tune, and then roll it for me.
I'm not going to use my crossroads routine because I don't want another glitch. Could I have another die, please?
Yes.
And I'm going to be down one die, so I don't need another die. I'm going to be down one die because of my wounds.
Oh, yes. Very, very true.
And I'm going to push myself.
Okay, so that's 2 stress.
I got 2 6s.
Holy moly. Okay. So 2 6s. So here's the fun thing about the Whisperer, right? If you roll, like the spirits usually have also their own agenda,
Yeah.
right? So the spirits in this setting, in this creation of the Whisperers, they're not tools for you to use.
Yeah.
Right? So they are relationships you form, right? So they have their own agenda.
Yeah.
But you rolled well that your guy's not going to come back and further his own agenda, but he will come back and further your agenda.
Yeah.
He'll come back and give you help in some way. So like, what would you think would be useful for you right now that the spirit, even though he's unsummoned, could still boost for you?
So, I was very careful to, I have a kind of rum that he very much likes. In his passing or in this last interaction, he's puffing the cigar and taking a swig. And I see him as being very happy, sort of sitting on a soup over my, crumpled little body. And, but I think that, I think the locals recognize me as a big man, you know, and I think while many of the uninitiated would run and scream and so on and so forth, I think maybe there are some locals who recognize my role in the community and are going to be a bonus to coming to help me to whisk me away from the authorities.
Love that. Yeah, and maybe they're also trying to calm other people, just being relax, it's Baron, you know,
it's Baron or it's a show or whatever.
Yeah, awesome. Okay. Yeah, so that's great. That was good. Awesome. Yeah, so you will get your help and be able to make your way out of there if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a breather. For that scene, I'm gonna, try to heal up and maybe bandage myself or whatever the case is.
All right. Okay.
I'm sure I'm a root worker, so maybe I can, get some salves or whatever is. Interestingly enough, I don't have a med kit.
You don't.
But
you can still reduce the penalties of your harm.
Right. Gotcha.
Yeah. You can reduce the harm itself.
Okay.
But you
can spend to reduce the penilty.
Yeah, exactly. You can reduce the penalty.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Sweet. Yeah.
What do I need to do for that?
So to take a breather, you're just gonna roll your approach. You don't add any of your skills.
Okay.
But you do get an extra die if you bring your angle in.
Right.
And if you wanna burn the appropriate gear.
Yeah, so I think I am bringing my transcend angle in,
Tell me about it.
Because of the help of the Loa, but also because part of my walking it off is rising from the ashes kind of thing. I'm nothing if not a performer. I'm gritting my teeth, and I'm just from just stand you know what I mean? And like take in the adoration and the community, like children are running around my feet and so on and so forth. And like they whisk me away as like, you know, whoever comes to find me.
I love that. That's awesome.
All right. So that's going to be definitely empathetic and probably influence, right?
So it's just your approach.
Oh, it's just my approach.
Yeah.
Sure.
So empathetic. Yeah.
I got 6.
Oh, amazing. All right. So you're gonna clear 3 stress.
Oh, nice.
Or you can ignore the level 1 and 2 harm penalty. You choose.
I'm going to ignore the level 2 harm penalty.
That's a good choice. Yeah.
And how long does that last?
Oh, it's
For the session?
yeah.
Oh,
for the
nice.
session.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I have bullet holes, but I'm like gritting my teeth in.
Yeah, you're like, awesome. Yeah, and you know, before your spirit is fully gone, he just says, "Retreat, box."
Oh,
All right, back to y'all.
Mhm.
You're in the truck. The truck is coming. Is heading towards where it needs to head,
Right.
but you hear the driver like, "Who's there? What's going on? What's going on in here?
Is there a way?
I'm gonna call the cops."
But is there a way to get from the storage to the
Right, to the
cab?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
There's a little door in there, big door.
Can you drive this thing?
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna go through the door,
That's what I'm trying
yeah.
to I can totally do it.
grab up the driver.
How are you gonna go through the door? Tell me about the situation.
I mean, I'm definitely just charging through the door. So if it's
Are you gonna use you're gonna make your hand into a big thing that you can go through the door? Are you just using your raw muscles?
yeah, shoulder. I'm gonna shoulder through it. I'm trying to think if I might have be like I could have turned the knob kind of thing, but instead I'm just I'm gonna shoulder through the door.
I love the cinematic of like you going through the wall and grabbing him and then like pulling him back through the hole.
Yeah.
I mean, you could
pull it
make
off.
your arm into a huge. You could extend your huge arm and then pull him out if you want.
I wanted to reserve that for what I was doing to him once I got to him. So I'm going to get to him and
yeah.
then.
All right,
then-
so I just go for it. Say it happens. Okay,
I'm gonna bolt through the door.
you do it.
He's gonna be second guessing his life choices.
Yeah, he's also driving
there.
the car.
Just by seeing me he's driving.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about that. We're floating over top of the gorge now.
We are.
And
What could go wrong?
what could go wrong? And you said you could drive this, so I'm gonna take him and I'm gonna throw him through the front window.
Whoa! Amazing! Incredible. Okay, how are you gonna do this? Full muscle? Are you?
Yeah, I mean, let's
I'm gonna say if you use your power, it's automatic. It's done. If you want to use just your muscles, probably gonna go roll for that.
no, let's
Take stress. Take stress.
yeah, let's do stress. Let's power through this.
There we go.
So, and I was thinking about this with our previous encounter, but just increasing in size and bulk in this little cab, and just sort of I'm hunched over him as I grab him, and I'm just my body and his through the glass. Like there's no risk of the glass. Well, I'm using him to shatter the glass.
Yeah.
And then when he gets to the other side,
Done.
yeah.
Done. Mark a stress for that. Beautiful.
That's great.
Gorgeous.
And then I turn to you and I go, you better grab the.
I'm like, oh yeah.
Controls.
I used to fly helicopters back in the war. go up to the front, and I'm like, but it's a little different than whatever this is. And I'm going to try to help you on track.
All right, let's do a piloting roll for this.
All right, and
this battle.
Anyway, we have to have like every other scene or so. We have to make sure we ask. We ask the country then.
Doc.
Doc, we have to ask Doc if you could do this. Like, we need to. Can you do it?
Yes.
He says yes every time.
Yeah. First of all, this is not a normal vehicle, right? So, and then you don't have any pilot.
Right. Although I am trying to just keep it in a straight line. I'm not like trying to do anything crazy. So there is that factor too. But I also
Very true.
don't know the gears. So.
That's right. So yeah, do me a roll while you're doing aggressively, empathetically smart.
Well, I do have tech skills, so I think I'm probably partially just trying to figure out the controls and seeing how to do that.
Okay, so that's a different action.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're trying to figure out how to manage,
if I do that, would that help make it easier to pilot?
Or is there like possibly like an autopilot or something that could?
Right. That's kind of what I'm looking at, trying to figure out the tech and like how it works.
That's smart. All right. So go for that.
Cool. Smart plus tech. So that's 2 dice.
Not bad.
I only got a 2 though. So.
Oh yes, you see that button? That button looks amazing. You're so confident. So confident that that's the right one.
But this is just like the helicopter. I was wrong.
You hit the button. As soon as you hit the button, sirens from the thing. Start.
Wrong button.
Altitude decreasing.
Yeah.
Not even just making the thing really, really fucking loud, and now everybody knows that it's been robbed and there's something wrong with it. You're still crossing. It's still going to the general direction. It's definitely not going into the right direction, but it's going across the chasm, which is nice.
Maybe the other side.
Yeah. So, I mean, now you're gonna stop it. It's just gonna keep going. And you see the market's coming. You see the market coming. You see your vehicles approaching. And it's loud as hell. People in the market are not
That's what I'm saying, They just ran from the giant spirit. Now they're like, stop, and there's a, glaring truck coming towards.
How close to the ground is it when it's coming into the market?
It's pretty high up. Maybe like, I don't know, like 20 feet, maybe?
Yeah. I could try to stop it.
Yeah, someone's going to stop it.
Yeah. It's either I could try to stop it, or we could take a quick, exit out the side and hope. I may have some fabric in my thing. It might work as a parachute, but again, it may not. Are you able to turn into a bat?
I see some cabbage carts down there we can jump down into.
You can turn that body into anything.
If you could turn into like a pterodactyl, maybe we could do that. I get kind of like wild look in my eyes.
Or at least a flying squirrel.
Yeah, exactly.
A giant flying squirrel.
Yeah, I could ride on your back. It'd be great.
Can get a bit more aerodynamic. Let's do that.
All right, and you're jumping in.
So you want to be less
probably a pterodactyl.
Giant
squirrel,
giant webbing.
Do you want?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I'm gonna grab him, jump out, be like,
wrap my arms around you, like my hair's blowing behind me.
So I'm feeling good. Do you trust me?
This is great.
I haven't had this much fun in so long.
I don't like the way he's smiling. He's enjoying it so I can much.
He's got a pair of goggles on it in front.
Yeah. All right. So gotta stress for that. Gotta stress for that. I mean, you have a big boy on your back,
right.
So give me a roll for that at least.
Yeah, definitely.
Try to be unscathed and without.
Right. Yeah, grab a hold of them, but the side of my body, the lateral side of the body, just extends out into some sort of leathery, fleshy wings that gives me some aerodynamics, and holding him that and he's just dead weight at this point.
I'm clutching like a box to my chest, some of my gear or something. You don't know what it is or why. I think it with me, but
something else would be heavy.
Yeah, exactly.
And Marcus stress that you work.
Because you activated your right? Yeah. So we'll do something fun now. Let's see the results of this dice. But you've shifted quite a bit, right? So it's like after a while, after you start shifting, you got to start getting some consequences. So let's see what you roll there.
Okay. Is this the one?
You tell me whatever approach.
Right.
And
which approach you do?
Probably aggressive athletics?
Probably aggressive athletics. That makes sense because they're trying to jump with the big person.
Yeah. And it's hard to be a giant pterodactyl.
Yeah.
So.
So besides the physical effects now, flying over the market, coming down to the ground, Just going to look for, a good vegetable cart to drop them in.
Yeah.
Right before, I land, and in my mind's eye, very, very smoothly on my feet.
Beautiful.
Right? I got two fives.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. All right. Yeah. I
It's
mean,
partial.
yeah, maybe it was vegetable, but no, I'm definitely gonna say y'all got probably another on this raid police card over here. That makes sense, right? As a consequence. So you have 3 more left before the next police raid, which means you may fail the mission if you don't do this on time.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, she was very clear. She said this needs to happen before the next police raid. So.
oh, gotcha.
I thought we were in the clear when we moved from the edge to the Neurozone. So
We're not there yet.
damn coppers.
All right. So do y'all
Meet up.
are y'all reconnected?
Like after brushing off whatever got on me from crashing, I kind of like nod at some people at the market, like, "Hey, what's up?" And I'm walking by.
They're pissed. They're pissed. They're like, you used to come here and buy my never giving you vegetables again.
Sorry,
Never giving
man.
you vegetables.
I'm sorry.
Your sister's a grandma, little grandma.
Yeah.
Just what had to be done.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
What the consequence of the refrigerator?
Kind of let it go.
They don't want to be mean to poor folks of the market, man. Oh,
We're being bad to our constituents.
truly, our community is a little pissed right now.
Well, it wasn't really aimed for landing, so imagine I kind of like overshot the market and probably like hit something.
Yeah, maybe it hit part of the market and then just kind of like went up, and now it's just you can barely see what it's doing. But
I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah.
Like after the session, like a day later, someone's just like walking along the street somewhere.
I mean, you see drones though, like chasing the car and like because everybody's on alert now, so y'all better get out of there.
Definitely. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Get there, but all right.
Yeah, I'll walk up to you guys.
You look worse for the wear too. What the hell happened to you?
I am fine.
Okay.
All right.
Did the job, did you?
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah, let's get this done quickly.
Doc's creepy, by the way.
I kind of like it.
One of us.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Y'all heading towards the HQ direction?
Yes.
At least the car's direction, right? As y'all walking in, you see a call coming from your comms. Unknown number.
Mm.
Pick it up or just let it ring?
I'll be like, usually I don't answer these, but I guess because we're on a job, I should probably answer it, huh?
I'm the face. Do you want me to answer it?
Go ahead.
All right. I say,
Hello, danger.
Because if I do, it'd probably be bad.
how may we be of service?
Please don't deliver this box. The box is not ready. The box is not ready to be delivered. There's a glitch in it. You can't do this mission. You can't do it.
Who is this?
My name is Raya. I used to work with the Hope Lab. I used to be one of their engineers, and I just figured out that someone put some sort of glitch in it. And I mean, do you even know what this box is supposed to do?
We were told to not look.
The intent of the box is good. It's supposed to flood the police officers with a boost of super empathy so that they stop fucking killing people. But I just found out a glitch on the end of the system yesterday, and now it's supposed to do the opposite. It's actually going to make them even more fucked up.
We will fix it. I hang up.
Nice. Love it.
Who's that?
Give me a moment. I need to commune with the box.
You feel the vibration there?
Yeah. I don't know if I want to give up the box. Are you going to give it back?
Yeah.
All right. You're going to give it back, right? Here you go.
All right.
You're going to give it back, right?
Yeah.
Both are like solving one with the box.
I will give it back. I put it down. Again, I'm going to do a ritual. I'm going to I'd like to do a setup action. Because I want to understand it if I can. I'm gonna on vibes. I'm gonna. What does it need? Like that's how I operate. Like what do you need? What is it that before I engage, I want to understand. What I can give it.
Yeah. So tell me about how you do this ritual. Like how would Baron open up this ritual?
I'm going to summon Legba and basically let Legba ride me to the ability of the uncle.
Yeah.
And this kind face. I will draw Legba's Veve on the box. And again, I know Uncle loves whiskey, and So and just try to communicate and understand it.
Awesome. We're gonna do an attune roll for that.
Okay.
And you tell me what approach you want to use.
Yep.
Yeah.
Empathy. I mean, I can't. It's really hard for me to do anything other than empathy when I'm communicating. Right?
I love it. I mean, it's perfect. That's what the box is, right?
Yeah,
it's empathy.
It's empathy. So that is 4.
Okay. Not an important roll at all.
Okay. I'm gonna tap warp.
Yeah.
And re-roll.
A beautiful choice.
Yeah.
So
that was unfortunate.
So what I'm going to do is I feel a lot of resistance and the vibe around me, and I'm really going to pull at the weird. I'm really going to reach in and maybe even though I'm kind of ignoring them, I feel my wounds and I slap myself, and really try to lock in. That's better. 1-6.
Oh, beautiful. All right. Again, you commune box, you create this safe space, create this moment. Spirit is there, you feel the energy. Even Doc, who is not, of the weird, feels for the first time, you start questioning, maybe this is, maybe for the first time you really see and feel the power of the weird. And the box envelops you in energy. You feel this aura flashes, and then you start seeing copies of yourself, copies of you doing things in the future, things you've done in the past. You small, you as a teenager, you old, you as you now, you in a different time, you having fun, you having a fight with your ex-lover, flash a big movie moment. And
with your drums, there's
yeah, and all of you here also see that, and maybe not to the same degree, maybe not as intensely, maybe not the same scenes, who knows, but you also see some of that and feel some of that, and almost it feels I don't know, you might have a choice here. You feel an invitation, you feel a welcoming to reach deeper, and you're not sure what that means. You're not sure what consequences that may have, but you do feel an invitation and an openness.
Did I get any information?
Not yet.
Not yet.
You may choose now if you want to remain at this level to gain information, or if you want to probe a little bit deeper.
I'll probe a little bit deeper. Old Man Legba is with me and gives me strength. Everybody loves their old uncle.
Yeah. And as you reach deeper, maybe not physically, sure, but spiritually, with your guardian, you hear vessel. We need a vessel.
I am the perfect vessel.
All right. So
So you
describe to me what you
literally Hogan. It's like literally my job.
Yeah. Describe to me what you think it feels like to become this vessel of like, you are already an empathic person, right? Imagine if you had like 2 extra dice in there. Four, right? What would that feel like? How would you move through this world right now? Like, well,
they feel less inclined to chase after glory and power. Like they knew intrinsically that this was a community, but saw it as a community to control, and now sees it as a community to serve.
yeah.
You know, and is like
It's like
realizes the fallacy of their perspective.
Welcome to Burning Man.
And then
I get rid of all my candy.
yeah. And as you absorb that, it just says, you know, when it's time, release us to the HQ.
Can I continue to communicate?
You can try.
Okay.
It's
Just
fancy.
I just want to make certain that the intent is there. Like I feel it.
Yes.
I feel like
You feel like whatever glitch it happened is gone.
Okay.
You absorb that. You fix it somehow in this. You becoming the vessel.
said, don't mess with it. And that's exactly what you did.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
all right.
You look up Doc's joint, and it's just like, far out, man. Let's deliver this creepy thing.
All right.
All right.
And before we leave, I'll be like, I want to thank you both. You're like,
Being shifty, like,
super.
what happened to you, Ben?
Yeah, like, yeah, it's totally like, you know, but yeah, be like, I really feel like not trying to be corny, but you know, it's a little funny, but just really like, I'm really glad you're both taking this journey with me. You know?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Focus on the mission here, all right?
for the rest of the run, you get 1 extra die, whatever role you want. Because now you have this. It doesn't matter what role, even aggressive. It doesn't matter. It's just like the level of opening up your brain to new possibilities have given you that extra advantage.
I think my AR routine has added like a permanent third eye.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, right, it's like wherever I'm going, I just have the new, you know, third eye is like opened up, which it never had done before.
Hell yeah. All right.
All right.
Where's the drop-off point? I say.
The police station,
Right.
The Cairo
Yeah.
station.
And I feel like here on the infiltration, we would probably be in sync on this. So we'd probably sync up on having had a plan. This is why we're here.
Well, it was. I was kind of partially making a joke. Is like, we're this far along in the mission, and Doc's like, so where are we going?
Yeah. Well, besides, I think
Yes.
we would have talked about it. Maybe you don't remember.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, no, I just smoking joints.
He just went to joke. But yeah, I just walk confidently, just like, you know, not aggressively, just walk towards. I'm just gonna walk in the front door.
That wasn't what we talked about.
Like, take it down a notch, buddy.
It's gonna be all right.
Yeah, when we get to the cop station, I'm definitely gonna get shifty and kind of like hang back.
All right, so yeah, the HQ it's not the main HQ, but it's this particular HQ that needs to be released
For the Neurozone.
for the Neurozone. Yeah, and you know, it's just that release inside the HQ. So you gotta go in somehow.
Seems like Baron's all about that.
Yep. And all you see is like cops, you know.
Yeah,
full gear.
I'm preparing to tank at this. Like, I'd like to go into this, like, having to guns blazing.
Yeah.
You know, with him walking in, like, I don't know how we're going to deal with that. That's
You
my-
might check from the outside. There's a place I can perch up with my gun. I could protect from the outside for sure.
And I'll say, Baron, you know where you need to release this thing.
Okay.
Okay, let's just say like you know the spot where it is. It's not right at the gate. All right, let's say you need to walk in. Exactly. You will know when it needs to happen.
And does this look like we're going to be able to walk through the front door, or that's
Absolutely not.
not? No. Okay.
No.
So we've got guards posted
We got
outside.
guards, we got the barriers, all of them full gear, military style. Like, now it's heavily guarded.
Okay.
Is there a spot like opposite the building that I'd be able to set up? It's like a little higher,
Sure.
perch kind of situation.
Sure.
Yeah,
At least protect the entrance. Yeah.
You're from us?
Yeah, and I'll start the case I've been like carrying around the whole mission. I finally opened it up and start like putting together a rifle.
Yeah.
All right.
This is what we talked about. Like, okay, I mean, you were gonna do the distraction thing, but now you're just walking up. So
Well, that is the distraction.
I think we're in sync. I don't know about you, but maybe that is a distraction.
It's kind of,
Yeah.
My AR right now actually gets less creepy, and now it's just surrounded by people in, again, this is all hollow, but like white robes and head wraps, and they're like dancing and singing. And it's completely auditory, like, you know what I mean? And I'm in the middle of them, like dancing and singing along, just walking right towards the front doors.
Nice.
Oh, all right.
Maybe that does serve a purpose.
I mean, you already see the cops are like, they announce like, no one step closer, we'll shoot.
All right. My approach is going to be just flanking so that they don't end up behind me. But at the point that they start to get aggressive, I'm going to armor up and take up a position. Take up a
That's why I'm in position. If
guarded
get
position.
aggressive, I'll start shooting.
Start taking them out.
Yeah, I mean, you see that they deploy a few of them, kind of like, go check what the fuck these guys are doing, and they leave the rest there. So you have like two guys coming towards to like check up on you and try to stop you.
Okay.
Yeah.
The closer the better, as far as I'm concerned. But
Like, hands up, show me your hands. Okay, this is as far as it can go. This is our police station.
So I'm gonna keep going, and I'm going to exude a vibe of like join in, like we're all one, like all kumbaya, and let's do this.
All right. Well,
I'm gonna let it go as far as it can, but as soon as the cops start taking out weapons, I'm going to return in kind.
This helps.
I'm watching through my scope.
Yeah, I mean, they're not having it, and they're definitely like elite adversaries. Which means they do have the edge on y'all at all interactions. So that means your effect will be like reduced when you try to hit those guys because of their level of skill. And yeah, I mean, they gave you enough warning.
You're gonna try to NPC them to drop their guns. That's good.
They're coming in. They're gonna shoot. They're ready.
May the force be with you.
Because I just don't know that I'm going to have to take an action to do this before we get into it, but I want a heavy armor.
Okay.
So, and this is going to be my flesh just becoming plated, but again, bulking up.
Yeah.
These are, going to be sort of extension of sort of solid parts that just kind of come out of,
You're like
between my body.
crack is
Just sort of open up and, causing, pointy bits to come out and things like that.
Yeah. I mean, you can use you can prepare that. Let's say prepare that, and then you don't even need to mark stress for that because
I was thinking this is the loadout.
Right. Right. Exactly.
This is armor. I'm just putting color to the armor.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
And part of that is I'm not inconspicuous. There's no subtle.
That's right.
So and that's why I said I want to do it ahead of time because they're going to know that this big dude is even.
They don't care. They're pulling the guns.
I'm reminding Baron as we go, or they're going to start shooting. They're going to start shooting.
You're all one. I have my hands up, and I am just like marching forward. I'm
They're blazing.
Let's do it.
Bullets are coming. All right. Yep. They're coming in. They're shooting guys.
All right. Then I'm also going to fire at one.
Yeah.
Let's go for a headshot.
Okay. So decrease effect on these. Level 3 harm. And effect 1 unless you do something else to try and up this.
Sure. So, first off, whatever role it is, I am going to be using my crossroads routine is on this. So that's one edge, and I'm going to use a weird mod
Okay.
as part of my. And is that another edge or a dime?
For this for the gear.
Yeah.
Which one are you using?
I mean, I just marked one. Like I said, I had like jewelry and stuff.
Oh,
like
okay. So I mean, you want to create your own mod? You can. Like,
that.
what would it do? So you mark a stress to activate it. So
Okay.
it actually essentially works like a meta.
Okay.
power.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. Again, I think it's just. So I think it's all aligned to my position in the community. Like, it's geared into, we're all one, we're all part of the same community, we're, us and the gods, us and the spirits. And that's the vibe, and so I'm going to get my thought here is that the crossroads routine and that are going to reduce their threat because even if they shoot, they might shoot like holograms and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I am a big distraction, even though I do plan on just walking through that front door.
Yeah.
Some of them may stop, some of them may actually shoot, but the effect's going to be dropped down to 1.
All right.
Yeah. And I do have armor on just in case, but
Yeah.
I marked those.
All right.
So there you go.
All right. And you are going to also try.
So I'm going to do a little flashback. So despite all of Doc's stories that aren't true, apparently he was in the military, and flashing back to him getting modded for his service, basically with a kind of wired reflexes that's specific to very good for snipers, but it kind of slows down time for you. Gives it that extra.
So you're going to do an upgrade on your on your.
And then we'll get an augment. Yeah.
I think it's called the Einstein. It's like, because it's relative,
Right. Oh, okay. So it's a nog, not an upgrade.
Yeah.
You're done.
Yeah, an augment. Yeah.
Okay. So throwing down augment.
I will die for.
If
If you'd be an expert,
expert,
well, I think it's military.
Good choice.
Like,
Good choice. Yep.
like no spec.
Yep. And then tell me why you roll on the d6.
Okay. 4.
Oh, sweet. You're good. Nothing bad happens.
Because it's military, right? They're precise.
Well, you get what you pay for. You pay to stress.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good stuff.
So I guess I'm gonna take my first shot. Have they started?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you're starting it. So all right. So let's see if you want me your roll to see how you do, because they're definitely you were the one that were just walking in.
Yep.
So I feel like you're the primary target.
Now, is this a resistance roll or is this an active empathy influence roll?
Mm-hmm. A second one.
Is it active empathy? Okay. Awesome.
So I think that makes sense.
Awesome. And then I have glitch die.
Right.
And then I reduce the threat by 2, so it goes down to 1.
Down one.
So even if I got shot, be okay. So I've got a 3 on the glitch die.
3 is the high on
And
that one.
3 is the high. I'm going to have to tap into a warp again.
Yeah, you can. That's just
I have to. And I think
that's what for
You can only do it once.
Oh, you can only do it once.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, well. No. Yeah, so.
Okay, so the glitch die was 3.
3.
So that's a level 2 consequence. Say
Unresisted.
unresisted.
Sounds good.
All right, I need. Oh boy, are you dead?
We'll find out.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, first off is the failure, right? Because the 3 is a failure.
Yeah.
I get a level 1 consequence that I can resist,
Yes.
right? I do have armor, so can I make a brace check?
Absolutely.
Or I'm assuming the consequence is getting shot again,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Yes.
So how does this work? I just roll, roll just your approach. And my approach.
Or just cross off the armor, actually.
Oh, I just cross out the
You
armor?
just cross off the armor because you haven't used armor yet.
I haven't.
That's right.
All right. So
that one is for the level 1 consequence.
yes,
Right?
yes.
And now you have the thing.
So I just cross out the armor. I can't use it ever again.
That's
for,
right.
For that.
And use the armor.
And I'm fine for that. So what do you think the level 2 consequence would be for the glitch of the cross routine? Like what happened?
Yeah, it's the glitch for the cross routine. I mean, I feel like some harm as to, or not a level 2
think so?
harm, not a level 2 harm, obviously, but maybe.
What if I sort of black out? Like, what if I'm like either overtaken by the box or overtaken by, because I still have leg butt, right? I haven't dismissed leg butt.
Right. Could your documentation just be destroyed? Like it got overloaded?
Yeah.
That's fried.
It's just too much. It's fried.
Yeah. So you lose that completely.
So cross it out.
Yeah.
Sounds
All
good.
of that.
There you go.
All right. I mean, that makes more sense, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just totally unusual now. Yeah. And they all the people just like disappear.
Yeah. They're like, oh,
just like out in the middle of nowhere.
yeah.
So are there somebody? So I should roll for my shot, right?
Yeah. Roll for your shot.
All right. Cool.
So yeah, unfortunately for you, the effect level is still gonna be low because you didn't get all the extra whistles
Okay.
that Baron got, right?
From what?
Well, he used its augmentation, and then you used.
It wasn't a distraction at all.
It did ended up not working, but he got more dice.
Yeah,
and it's just because they are elite adversaries.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't the range thing. I was like,
Yeah.
all right, cool.
Your odd man would be an edge.
Yeah.
So it levels out, actually.
Right.
That's still a level.
Yeah.
It will level out. Two.
Yeah.
2-2.
Yeah. We'll do 2.
How about us being in sync?
Yeah. Do you wanna do some of that? We can do that.
Kind of striking at the same time, sort of.
Yeah.
Okay, so to do it sync, you kind of have to describe kind of like this moment where y'all felt in connection to each other to kind of give out that boost. So what was the moment where, sometimes it's like you don't even say the thing, you just the thing, right?
Yeah.
So describe the moment that happened between you two where you were just kind of like,
I think in the feeling and also knowing that this was kind of why we're here as we're coming at this guy notwithstanding
Yeah.
And doing his distraction,
yeah,
the two of us are like, all right, there's this tango,
Yeah.
those guys there. I think we're focusing on the two guys that
Yeah.
are approaching us.
Yeah.
We're both in sync to
Yeah.
make sure that we act at the same time. So essentially, what the two of us are going to do is at the same time.
Right.
that sounds good.
And also, right before this, we're probably like, he's acting like a little weird. Like, let's,
Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah.
Well, I think when like my stuff goes down and they start firing, then like you two just simultaneously,
Hit.
you're starting to like tear into them
Yeah.
on the ground, and then
Yeah.
guys' heads are exploding.
And to an extent that like the two guys, hopefully, if they're close enough that I can be in close combat with them at the same time, the sniper bullets come out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the way that the mechanics work for the sync runner's action is you have that moment, and then you can take runner's action like a push, for example, if you wanted to add an extra die for free.
Okay, I'll do that.
But you have to take a core drawback. Thank you so much. Which is either you lost a gear, or you marked too load on your gear, or something becomes glitched, or you mark a debt minus rep or cred in order to be able to get that extra die.
Okay. It doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be connected to this particular action, right?
It has to be connected to your vision to get them at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah.
The drawback.
So like the rep, like how would that be like because we're attacking cops or like what?
Yeah, like something like that. Maybe, maybe the community spun the story
Right.
in a weird way.
Yeah, as much as we've been trying to go stealthy, we have not been so stealthy.
Yeah,
I think there's kind of like, at least like afterwards in the grapevine, kind of like
exactly.
obvious who did this thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So you got an extra
Right.
die for that
Yeah.
for free?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Got a 6.
Ooh.
I was hoping for 2 6s, but I got 1.
Hell frick yeah. All right. How do you want to do this shot? You tell me.
So like one of the people who's kind of coming up on the Baron kind of walks right into my crosshairs, and like that's like kind of when time slows down, and it's almost like I could be like like smoking a cigarette. It seems like I'm taking like 3 minutes, and
And what about CRISPR? Like, how do you do in this moment to get the other cop, I guess, right?
Yeah, I think yeah. So we're in sync. He's got the guy on the right. I've got the guy on the left. So as they're coming up,
Yeah.
we're offering the distraction. By the time he gets close enough to be within a few paces, his bullets flying over my shoulder as I grab the other guy and then just whip out the knife and take him out.
Close combat. All right.
Close combat,
Okay. So do a roll for that. Do you want to get an extra die for? Because you can't get any of the other actions free because you are in sync. You could do a push, which means you can add an extra die for free, but then you have to get a drawback. So you can say you lost the gear, or it's too heavy, or debts, or
Can I do a brace? Like I'm thinking, like after this, like thinking of the next move.
Oh, for the next move
to prep for the entourage,
the reinforcements,
the rain of bullets about to come.
Sure. Let's do
So looking at the walls, or maybe there's a vehicle.
Yeah.
That as soon as these close guys come up, I'm gonna be ducked behind them.
Sure, let's do that. That works for me. Yeah. So just do your close combat roll and add an extra die there for push. And what was the drawback that you want to have? You want to say you lost the gear, or something becomes glitched? You want to have that Raffi
upgrade the knife into
No, I mean, since we're in sync, it should be the same thing. I think this is like we lose all opportunity to
lost the rat. Okay, minus rat.
Like we went into the scenario and being unknowns. We're coming out of this.
That makes sense.
no one for the wrong things.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay.
The guys that tried to hopefully successfully
Yes.
take out the Neurozone HQ. There's at least a 5.
Okay. You want to go to 5? You can also drive a roll, but it's a good one.
Yeah, I'll take the
success.
Marshall. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So you
still take out
stab the guy, or?
Yeah, I mean, I take off his head. This is not subtle.
So, okay, let's see. What could be what are the consequences besides the fact that you have a basilisk tank coming your way because the cops have deployed that?
Yeah.
That seems good enough.
Well, I
anything
think
else?
There's no, the consequences, there's no misunderstanding about what we're up to.
That's true. You're up to no good.
Yeah.
All right. You got a massive tank being deployed. The cops are, drones are coming. Like, it's getting heated in here, guys.
Yeah.
Do we feel like the doors should be locked?
So imagine when you have the little station thing that they're like glasses in here, and then you have the little that opens up, your vehicle can go in, right? So you have that, and you have fences all around.
Checkpoint Charlie.
Exactly, that type of thing. So that's kind of how the structure is. So now you have the massive thing coming your way. Police and drones.
Is the tank coming from like a side street, or is it coming from like?
Yeah, it's coming from not the main entrance because it's too big for that.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
No, I don't think it's too big for that. I'm gonna take over the tank.
Whoa, okay. Yes.
I'm gonna use coding and try to hack the tank.
Amazing. Okay. All right. How are we dealing with the rest of the heat here? Now we have, let's say, we have like 4 drones coming, flying in, and those are automated with AI bullets and pistols and that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I ducked behind this vehicle, but I think at this point, I'm still going to need the vehicle to block me. So one way or another, get the vehicle to move in the direction.
Yeah, that's actually a very common infantry maneuver, is to fall in line behind the tank while the tank is going along.
Once the tank is I imagine the vehicle I'm ducked behind is far removed from
Well, because you're right in front there. You just killed the guard. You're right in front next to me, aren't you?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, the tank is not on the entrance, it's on the side.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Unless if someone is taking a view right now, I think I might take a beat to like kind of drop down, kind of like because I don't want to draw drones to me just yet.
So try
being stealthy, basically for a round,
All right, okay. So what's the order of action? Do you want to try hacking first, the basilisk?
I feel like the tank is a big action this round, so let's see what happens there. It's going to determine everything else.
Are you going to use supernatural powers? Are you going to just coding? What are you...
I'm just using coding. Cyber deck.
Okay. Effect 1, threat 3.
Effect 1, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
This is a military tank. You can go with your cyber deck and
sure. That's fine.
just hack that. You have to.
What does the cyber tech give me? Edge or does cyber deck give me dice?
We're gonna give you the edge.
Edge.
Yeah.
So I'll increase the effect.
Increase the
to.
Okay.
What kind of effect do I need to take it over?
I have 3. I think
I
one
need
more.
3?
Yeah, because it's, I mean, imagine, right? I'm military.
I'll increase the threat and increase the effect.
All right. Okay.
So-
lethal.
No.
Lethal threat. We love it. I love
Take a
it.
big swing.
And it's totally a big swing. I'm just like, come on, boys, and like step to the side and try to control the.
All right.
So
Courageous.
and well, I got 5.
Okay.
So that's
Oh, okay. Awesome. All right.
So interestingly enough, 5, that means I get a level 4 consequence and a level 3 effect.
Mhm.
So I think I have to not take the tank, but use my effect to reduce the threat, down to like 1. Just take like I get knocked over or, something to that effect, right?
Yeah.
Because I can't get taken out, right?
You are the boss.
I am the box. So I think I'll do that. I think I won't succeed,
Okay.
but I succeed enough to ameliorate any harm to me.
Yeah.
But not have taking it over
Exactly.
to be able to have it be a ram, which was my original idea.
That's okay. At least
So-
they're alive.
So I get grazed by whatever, I guess shots that come off of
Yeah.
it. I don't have my armor anymore, so I won't take that. I don't think I can brace against that, right?
You can. You just roll your approach.
Okay.
If you want to try to do that, or if you want to also burn some other gear that you may think you have that makes sense here to mitigate that, you can also do that and add an extra dice.
Yeah, not yet. I think I'm going to
Just try your approach then.
Yeah, I think I'll do I think since I was using smart, you know what I mean?
Smart.
Like I'm positioning myself well enough
Yeah.
to know that if this goes south, I'm behind a column or something like that.
All right. Okay.
So that's just 1, and I get a 1.
Oh,
You got a 1. So mark 3 stress.
3 stress?
Yeah.
So yeah.
But you
That
got it.
That puts you out.
that puts me out.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh no.
All right.
Oh no.
There we go.
Well, good thing that tank is out of your way.
Hey, at least we're figuring out how this works. Your last stress, one of your approaches becomes permanently glitched. I think that's going to be probably, since I'm using smart, I think it's going to be smart.
Mm-hmm.
And
It
can be cornered instead of taken out.
yeah, you pick which. It also triggers a consequence on the spot. You're knocked out or cornered. You leave the crew exposed. I don't want to leave my crew exposed. So I won't be killed, but I will get knocked out.
Okay.
So you guys are going to have to bring me into the place.
Yeah.
While overloaded, you can't do anything that causes stress. Right now, I am unconscious.
Boy. All right. So
I think my cyber deck may be like
yeah.
there was you know what? I bet there was some sort of
Anti.
I think the shielding or whatever overloaded my cyber deck.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Cyber attack.
So you see one of my eyes just spark and smoke comes out of my ear.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
Baron's down.
Yeah. You see Baron be down.
Yeah.
You see that
Is the tank still operative?
it's coming.
All right.
There was no effect.
So
unfortunately.
I'm gonna try something different. I pull a grenade out of my pack. It has Doc's medicine written on it, and Sharpie.
Nice.
It's an EMP grenade. I'm gonna try to take the tank out with that.
Okay.
Blow with electronics. So it's kind of just over the edge.
Again, it's not going to be a lot of effects because it's the military, right? So
Right. Could be shielded.
it's going to be shielded. So, you know, am
If I
I?
push it, can I? Is that just a die or?
For an
I-
edge,
Yeah.
to you.
I think if you chose to perhaps do like an upgrade on your grenade.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
Maybe one
Why
like
do you have
that.
awesome grenades?
Exactly.
Right.
You can do a flashback.
you have
Yeah.
excellent
Yeah. No, I have pretty good. Yeah.
You're like, oh, I have this military
Yeah, no.
grade grenade from my old.
Yeah, and that's why it's like Doc's medicine, like written on it, like Sharpie, probably like rubbed off partially because he's had it for like 5 years,
Yeah.
10 years, whatever.
Yeah. So this is like military grade level.
What does it look like you stealing it? Because I totally think you stole it.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Like before, I was like, probably just like disorderly conduct or whatever. Like kind of like asked to leave. I managed to sneak into one of the areas, and one of the people who was watching, like the guard. I knew him pretty well, and like kind of hooked him up with some joints, and he like let me detect. Like, going the other way, he probably thought I was going to steal something like some guns, and I was like,
Right.
Yeah. Awesome. All right.
And here's the anti-tank grenade. I'll take that. That could come in handy someday.
Don't forget the word stress for that.
Right.
Yeah, might stress on the upgrade. So let's say level 2 and 2 now. So you're far away. So I think that will help you.
Yeah.
With the situation.
Yeah, I'm kind of up above too, so that kind of helps.
Exactly, helps you, and now you have military grade.
Right.
So
Although it would be athletics for the throw instead of like.
I think range combat
right, okay.
for throwing.
Okay, great. That's more dice. No argument here.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh yeah, 6.
Oh, amazing! All right, describe how you. take this
So
and-
yeah, lob the grenade over and kind of go
just
down.
casually.
Yeah.
I love it. And just like.
Yeah, I kind of do it. Okay, I duck down. I kind of close my, put my hands over my ears. I'm expecting this loud explosion, but it's like an EMP, so it probably doesn't like barely any noise at all. And I'm like, and I kind of like peer over the edge. I'm like, oh, the tank is, I guess probably just like kind of moving under its own motion, but not like by the engine anymore, and like hit something on the side of the road, kind of out of commission.
Success. All right. Okay. And you got Baron that's laying down there. What
All right.
you, Christopher?
So the cop car, the cop vehicle is now left behind 2 guys that we took out. A guy decapitated. Baron's lying next to us. So I'm going to, there's a couple things I wanted to do, but now that Baron's here, I'm going to have to get him into the vehicle, get in, and very recklessly drive up the stairs and get through into the door as quickly as possible. So
Definitely aggressive.
and this is literally just throwing him into the passenger seat,
All right.
and then getting most of the way into the vehicle, and there's not a foot gas. I'm gonna pound on the throttle all the way up, spin the tires, and then roughly try and get right into the.
Nice.
I mean, your power is perfect for this. I say if you want to do this as quickly as possible, you probably want to activate that. Let's say you have like 4 arms now, right? You have like one arm,
and having to grab him.
exactly, opening the door, the other arms already on the steering wheel.
Perfect.
Right, something like that. So it's like very quick.
I was worried that if these are too many things to do all at once.
Might
But
be. Bring more arms.
But you can. You can. Exactly. So mark a stress to activate your meta power. And I mean, I'm not even gonna. It's a normal vehicle. I'm not gonna say piloting or anything. I'm just gonna go for it, man. Like you activated your power, driving through the thing. Maybe just like
it's really movement. I'm just trying to get from
just
here to
movement.
there.
Yeah, but I'm gonna. Well, you know what? I think it might make a sense to do a roll to just kind of protect Baron from getting shot, or like, are you doing that at all? Like, you tell me.
Well, I'm thinking we're hitting the door so hard.
Yeah, the
And
drones are
none of us put like seatbelts on, and we're getting shot.
exactly.
So there's certainly the risk of physical harm either.
How about if you did a really good piloting roll, you can get out of this like unscathed, right? Because you drove
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I figured
how
it's
about
take a pilot. Yeah.
that? Do that? All right, let's go roll that.
Which I don't have, but I'm going to be
That's-
aggressive.
You do aggressive.
Aggressive. You can also push yourself.
I'm definitely, I'm going to push this.
If you
All
have
right,
to.
2 stress then.
Oh, you do? Okay, good.
Sorry.
We're almost there.
If we get over the finish line, it's going to be like with the wheels rolling off from like on fire.
So
That's right.
The 2 stress gives me 1 die
Yeah, for push.
for push.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. See how we do. 3 rolls. And a 6.
Yeah.
6, 4, 3.
Nice.
All right, what does it look like? Tell me.
All right. So we're out at checkpoint Charlie. The 2 guys came out. We took one out with sniper. I took the other guy's head off. Limbs come out, grab Baron, throw him in the car, just up on the throttle. One hand, one of the arms is on the controller knob, and I just kind of point it towards the door, which goes through checkpoint Charlie, knocking people out of the way, rumbling up the stairs, hits the front door, and half of the vehicle gets through the front door, and smoke and fire it comes out of that as well. Yes.
Yeah. Let's say as you drive through the moment, you hit a certain amount of like meters into the HQ, you see almost like Baron kind of like come back to life, and their eyes glow and their aura glows, and you're outside, so you see like
Probably trying to get out of Dodge a little bit. Right?
Yeah, you see, because the scouts are scary with their visors. Like it just looks like they have no face, right? So you see like some of them like grab their heads and like get on their knees. Some of them like drop their guns. Some of them are like seem like they're crying. Some of them are just like in fetus position, like they were bad to mommy or something. Like they're having like the most existential like crisis of their entire life, and their guns are like completely down. They can't do shit with their guns. They're just like in their own fucking head, going through like maybe like 1,000 therapy sessions in a second. Someone who's never done therapy in their life, but now they're doing like 1,000 of them at the same time. And they have to like reckon with their biases and their like stupid like behavior and like all of these
Their ego.
Exactly, it's all coming up. It's all coming up. So they're like a completely distressed,
Questioning why they became cops.
exactly.
Okay.
And you kind of seem to come back to your senses. So you're no longer like knocked down.
But probably all no longer like God mode either, right?
Yeah, I mean we'll see. You tell me on the epilogue.
All
I'm
right.
gonna say, this is kind of how things conclude here. As far as like you did your mission, you conclude your mission, that you get out of there, that's fine. You don't really care to stay to see what happens, because you get the fuck out of there, right?
Yeah,
That's your mission. You see your creds in your bank. So we're gonna move into the epilogue phase,
Awesome.
right? Okay, so the epilogue phase is a little bit different than probably what you guys did on with the core. We have like 2 phases for this. We have exit log, and then we have just your angle. Okay, so we are gonna try and restate your angle right now, or you have the opportunity to change it. Okay, so if the run in some way altered your initial angle, now is the time to perhaps choose a new one. You don't have to. This is just an opportunity to do so. Like if you got moved or changed by something.
I mean, I could see mine changing to make the world weirder.
Nice. I love that. I love that for a character.
Because it was learn the truth, but he's kind of coming off the idea there is any truth.
CRISPR's maintaining the upgrade life.
Okay.
He's still learning about life a little bit too.
I definitely think that Barrett is moving towards look after them. Like definitely after this experience.
Yes.
Taking on a less glory hound kind of approach. I want to be a god. to like, more bodhisattva approach.
Yeah.
I love that.
Well, that's the empathy that you got too. When
Yeah.
you connect
Right.
with the,
Yeah.
Right. We could have gone the other way, but that's really cool. I love that. Okay. So we got our angles locked in, and now we're going to record this exit log. So an exit log is your message that you want to release into the world. It's something that maybe it's going to change things for other people. Maybe your message is not going to go through, but it's what people and what the world is going to hear after your run.
well, I have one just in that our rep was altered from the sequence.
It was.
And
It
so-
will impact, but
No, I know, but just to go along with it, you know what I mean? I know it's not the same mechanic, but now that potentially people know that this happened,
yes.
that we did it, but thematically we did this as part of a mission. But let's put out in the narrative, this is going to be a guerrilla radio blast to everyone in the city.
Yeah.
Hey, you don't have to live under authority and tyranny control. This does not have to be a police state.
Yeah.
We showed the Kairos, right, the cops, that the truth of what wrongs that they were doing. And then that reflection made them come to the realization that, we should all just be getting along, guys. Like, this is our city. We've got a say in it. And, the authorities should treat it that way.
No, I like grab the mic and I'm like, yeah. And the transport vessel, if anyone was harmed by it or anything happened after it came out of review, that was not our intent and our goal was good. Obviously, we did a good thing. Okay.
Love it.
Just where vehicles still in a death
Exactly.
spiral.
We got a little bit
The city.
Yeah. And what about Baron's message they want to try and see if it gets out there?
Sort of a message to a cynical world that the drums still beat
Mhm.
and the dead are still with you and that we must be a light for one another. And I think something to the effect of, something.
I think it's meaningful that the dead are still here and they're still pulling for you.
Right.
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 Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. Awesome. So now we build our log pool.
Because that gives them mythos too.
Yeah.
To go along with.
I love that. So after narrating the exit log, you're going to add a die for each rep that you have, and add a die if the mission was a success. Because the approach here doesn't really matter, just what you did for the people who are going to remember you. So I know both of you had 1- for the rep, right?
Yeah, I was going to say.
And then you had +1 die for the mission success, which means you have 0 die, which means you roll 2 dice and you take the lowest.
Okay.
Okay? And you have
Oh, I see what you're saying.
2. That's awesome, because you had cinematic moments.
Right, yeah.
I rolled 2 ones.
Which one do you want to choose?
Snake eyes.
They don't believe me.
You are a terrorist.
Fuck you. You're not on by vegetables.
I got a 6 and a 2. I'm in the same boat as him. We're as much as we tried.
Yeah.
I've got no charisma.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Nobody heard that part that you said, "Hey, I'm so sorry for fucking up your whole market," sort of thing.
Oh, they don't believe it. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't believe it.
Yeah. Basically,
They're like completely uninspired about it. How about you?
So I get 4.
Okay.
So while I got out cleanly, I think what I lose is my status in the community because
You're associated with us.
Well, no, actually, I think it's more because it's my own, I don't want to lead as much as I want to. Now I want to help. Right. And unfortunately, it's not that kind of world. It's still, people are still kicking homeless people, shooting puppies and stuff. And, here I am trying to get people to work together, and I think that it's people respected fear more than love. And so I have this new approach, but that like loses me my social power.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. And now back to your angles, which were look after them, make the world weirder, and upgrade life, right? So for the pool for that, you don't narrate, you just pick your approach, whatever you want to approach. If you have cred, which you do because you got paid, so you get one extra dice for that. Do you have any approaches that are glitched, failed to complete critical objectives, minus? No, you didn't fail to complete anything.
I have a glitched.
You have a glitch?
I have a glitched.
Glitched approach.
I have a glitched approach.
Smart.
Oh, minus die in there.
Yeah.
Minus
So I'm at 1.
You got 1. Okay.
Oh, but
No,
I
2
think
because
an
you got
approach.
cred.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. All right, I got a 6 that time.
Wow.
Okay.
I got a 4.
Okay. You got
Well, upgrade life is as I walked. I don't know how to narrate this, but as I walked out of the police station, I took some heavy weaponry, and some stuff that I just kind of, stuff that would fit, alongside my femur.
Yeah.
And
You're learning from Doc. That's the way to do it.
Hopefully have some police gear to go along with my upgrade life. 2 5s.
All right.
And a 1.
Okay. So you got a 5, Doc, for make the world.
I got 4.
We got a 4 for make the world weirder.
Yeah.
So how do you think you reconcile both those things, right? Because you had your message, didn't go out, God fucking damn it, right? But you also had an objective here that you wanted to accomplish, right? So tell me about the objective. How did that fit into the narrative?
Mostly just increased chaos more than anything else. I think our intention was, especially once you got the box activated, was to kind of like spread this sort of message of like peace, love, and joy. But I think everything else just kind of added to the chaos of the of the situation.
And for CRISPR, not only is he not heralded as a hero and is considered a terrorist by the public, but his theft of equipment did not go unnoticed. And so he's, all the HQs are going to be alerted to the fact that this cyber terrorist is now armed and dangerous.
Yep.
I think exactly as I said. I think even though it was sort of like anticlimactic, to some degree, I think it was still really poignant. Like now Baron is really going. I think I love the idea. Maybe like just walking into the community, taking off like their jewelry and their top hat and. Not perfect, like completely, again, really missing the God mode, and feeling vulnerable, but like, I'm here to serve. And it's like a rough world for that.
Yeah. You got a 6, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
So I think I want to serve. I want to help people. I obviously still want to be part of the revolution, but and obviously I'm still going to summon things to do so, but a lot less like ostentatious and gaudy, especially since I don't have the augment anymore, right? It got burnt out. I'm like scarred from my cyber deck getting blown out. Like, just really a changed person.
That's awesome.
Thank you so much. That was great, Raff.
Do you want to know what the fallen are, little one? In a sense, they are angels, but not the angels your mom imagines she prays to. Brass trumpets picnicking in the clouds. In their true essence, they are great swirling engines of wing and blood, fiery eyes that peer around the corners between worlds. Dark, radiant things conjured from fresh battlefields. A Frankenstein's Valkyrie, forever crashing to Midgard. What grief demands their hate? What vast cannibal hunger?
Welcome to the Fallen Cycle. This is a universe full of secrets, waiting for those brave or foolhardy enough to seek them out. Discover more about the myth-punk Fallen Cycle universe at fallencycle.com.
All right. Well, that was a lot of fun. Thank you very much, Raffi. And see you later. No, I'm kidding. So the first thing I like to do, especially when we have guests, is I kind of like to go around and talk a little bit about what we've been playing, what we've been doing. And Sean, what have you been playing? You actually ran D&D again, didn't you, recently or no?
What we've been playing. Yeah, I actually got my long-standing group back together, trying to finish up the last act. And, after like any DM's experience, always a struggle trying to get your group together on a regular basis. And I implored with them, let's get to this last act. It's going to be good. Right. We're going to be doing some battle systems and things like that. So I'll bring some of that back here once we're all said and done. But it will be nice to have an end-to-end story campaign, ultra arcing, plane hopping, with the big bad guy and everything, come to a nice, satisfying conclusion after a number of years. That's just going to be so great. Yeah. When compared to doing something like we did tonight, where we're just, playing end to end and getting, from beginning to a conclusion, it's like cliffhanger after cliffhanger, and now we're finally going to get there. So hopefully we'll get there. A couple more sessions to go.
Awesome. Is this an online game or is it in person?
It's been mixed. So, it started off in person. And we actually handle it mixed currently. So some of the participants are virtual.
Oh, and some are there.
Yeah, and I have a screen. It's an old plasma that's inverted that I use for the grid and for the digital displays.
Fun.
And then we put a camera on that. So I've got a camera that views that. Plus a camera that views the room. There's 3, or in this case, there's 5 players in the room, and still
and the one screen face.
And then there's people that are still playing online. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool setup. That's really fun.
Yeah.
It's
a neat setup.
Very cool. We've been playing.
So, because, I run a lot of long campaigns, it's like the same thing as the last time, but it has changed a little bit. Like we're doing kind of the second season, I guess you could call it, of the Witch Hunters. The first season was 29 sessions, and most of that, they kind of started outside of the capital and we're traveling through the wilderness. So most of it was like an overland wilderness travel campaign. And I tried to style the systems that we're using around that, and also kind of like how I ran it, because they're all in this, ultimately in this wagon train, and eventually it became a traveling circus. There were a couple of times when a character when a player was not able to make the session, and it was like, well, the character's sick on the wagon. It actually made sense in the story, but it's still there's less, it's kind of a linear thing because they're kind of just there. So I didn't do a whole lot of calling the scenes or going off and doing your own thing. Now we're in a city, and we're in one of the largest cities in the country, and so I'm changing some of the style with it, where we're doing a little bit more kind of non-linear, kind of calling out scenes, and sometimes there'll be days passing between scenes, and so that's been interesting. And Scott, you've been joining the campaign as a player, which has been fun.
Is that coming from just your changing? Is that coming from what we're doing in terms?
No, it's more like, I guess I've kind of adapted my style over, the last 5 years or something. But I was doing it with the Cyberpunk campaign too back in 2020, where it's, I try to adapt the systems that we use, at least the systems that we foreground. Not completely changing the system, but
subsystems.
Right, exactly. And in any rule book, it's you got 300 pages of stuff in there. It's a lot of times you don't call on everything in the book, especially in every session. So it's kind of which stuff is relevant to what you're doing, and what needs a little support from outside or whatever. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how it goes. The challenge has been there's a lot of players now. I think we have 6 players, something like that. Mm-hmm. So, online can be a little chaotic, although I think everyone's really into the story, and I think that really helps keep it kind of together. So it's not completely all over the place, which was my concern with having a lot of players. But it's actually, it's going somewhere, so that's good.
Yeah, even though it is a more seemingly sandboxy game, it's a sandboxy game that everybody is sort of in sync and moving together.
And they've already defined their characters so well. That's one thing with you coming into it. I'm sure it's a little bit like, not difficult, but like, is it kind of works for your character because she's kind of an outsider, but it's like definitely like you're coming into it and they have this like, all this sort of experience of things that have happened. And, so I'm sure that's a different experience, but
players coming in and out.
But we have some decent plans to ingratiate my character in with the group. And it certainly helps that I make magic items. So,
there you go.
So it's funny because the tone really shifted when it was like, oh, this is our bosses or our new associates. Like, this is our little watchdog, and you're like, oh, wait a minute, you can make magic items? Right. So, buddy!
Yeah, exactly. No, we started, it was, bribery always works.
Right. The first thing that happened, like, they handed me this, like, broken sword. And I was like, oh, yeah, I can fix that. And so that was kind of fun. Yeah. Rafi, what have you been up to?
Besides a lot of play testing of this thing.
That's great.
So, sometimes... because I have my friend James who runs a lot of these. So sometimes I just play it because I'm like, I need to test this thing.
Yeah.
But I've been really into Cyborg because I love Cyborg. The board systems.
Cool.
Is the cyberpunk version of the board. Really love it.
Yeah.
And you got me really excited with Otherscape.
Mm-hmm. We've been playing that. It's an interesting system.
I'm just like, it's such a cool system. It's so beautiful. Like, it's so easy to understand. It's like all the things I love.
Yeah.
And it's so diverse. It's just like, the authors and the developers, like, have really taken their time into just like reflecting, I think, like the richness, the complexity of like human extension and magic and different qualities, and all of that is like really reflected in the characters. And
big shout out to Sons of Oak. I just think
big shout out to that.
Such a great job. Awesome. I want to go back to that in just a second. Again, like Jamie said, we've been doing a lot of new stuff. We did, I don't know if I mentioned it before, I actually played Traveler.
You told me about it the other night.
Did I say that on the podcast?
No, I don't think so.
So I actually played Traveler. Not only I played Traveler with James, and two other gentlemen and another player, who is their second RPG ever.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And it was old school Traveler. It was actually an old school module from Traveler. That was a very interesting experience. I certainly would have approached it a slightly different way. It was not like, we were all sort of like learning what was going on. So there wasn't like an enormous amount of role playing going on. It really felt like a lot of my old experiences with Traveler, which with certain kinds of games like that, it really lives and dies on the personalities at the table, right? And so if that's not in sync, and if you're not all kind of playing the same game, then I think it can really fall flat.
Especially for like short, like one session things, it's tricky. Like you kind of develop, I remember like back in the day, like we developed this sort of like group kind of consensus on those sort of things, even if you don't talk about it, but it takes time. So like.
So there was definitely because the game does not, and this is a big move for me, right? And unfortunately it just supported my own opinions. Like, it's totally biased confirmation, but it was like, it did not support competing player agendas. And that was that the game didn't do so. And therefore it fell flat because there were some players who first off were inexperienced and didn't really know what to do or what they were doing. Mm-hmm. And they also had kind of a slightly underpowered character because they ended up retiring after only one tour. So for Sean, for your sake.
Yeah,
Right.
no idea what we're talking
For your sake, the claim to fame, aside from its age, Traveler is one of the first RPGs that came out since D&D, right? That came out in 1981. There wasn't a lot of RPGs around at that time. It came out in these small little booklets, and its claim to fame is that you could die during character creation. Because what you do is you do a military tour, you pick a service, and that service is a number of things like that you could be doing. It's a lot of rolling, and you'd be like, okay, well, I got through that, and did I get a promotion? Is it possible that I could get a commission? Like, what's going on in that? And then you make a survivability roll. And if you fail the survivability roll, your character dies, and you have to start over again. Now, shout out, I don't know, we'll put the link in the thing, but there's actually a character generator, which is interesting on two levels. Like, on one hand, it's nice because you're just like, boom, there's the character. On the other hand, people like rolling dice, right? So it is if you're all trying to have fun, and if you narrate through what's going on, I think that could be an interesting process. Yeah. The other thing a GM would have to worry about is it would be very easy for somebody to be like, boom, 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 boom. Oh, look, it's somebody with 10 life paths and is like a god,
right.
And, it'd be like, there's an honor system, but there has to be.
Yeah, and also character creation and the sheet itself can be the first step in learning the system.
Yes.
And so if you skip through that, especially if someone doesn't have an experience with RPGs to begin with.
Yeah. Although it's funny, like a lot of these games, a lot of the older school games, you'll notice that there is no relationship between character creation and the game itself.
That's true.
Unlike this, right? This is
now it's like
diametrically, what we just played is diametrically opposed to that concept.
Right.
That literally, the dice aren't the same, the processes, there's nothing about character creation that in any way tells you how this game is played.
Yeah.
Right. Right. And I don't know, I love when you're creating the character and you're encouraging your players to be like, okay, what is your friend bringing? What are you bringing? Maybe you can have complementary skills,
Right.
That part of character creation is really cool too, when you have that synchronicity.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but then it was a matter of you had an experienced character that was low powered, but then we had, a couple some people in there, but we had one player who really wanted to role play and talk through stuff. And we had one player who was like, okay, this is a puzzle to solve. Let's just solve it and move forward. All right, go. And was very clearly very impatient and about that process of what's going on. What do we see? What do we experience? You're like, all right, well, we spend this, we do this, we spend this, we do this. And, and that's
play styles.
Right. And then on top of that, the GM was sort of trying to work through and understand what was going on as well. Yeah. So it was fun. I was very thankful that the GM ran it. It was great to sit with a number of people I never gamed with. I played, and so it was a great experience. But it's definitely. This was first edition Traveler. I brought the 5th edition Traveler book to the table, which is a giant tome, just for fun, just for prop, kind of idea. But I would definitely run Traveler very, very differently. And I think creating, we're going to talk about how this game does that very well, creating expectations for what's going on. Now, awesome. So we just played Echoes of the Veil, and please, Raffi, what was your inspiration for going through this process? Right, you're putting you're putting something out into the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love that you're like holding your head. You're like, yeah. What did I get myself into, right?
I've run Kickstarters, and everyone I've ever been involved in, it's always what did I get myself into with the.
Oh yeah, my friends haven't seen me in months.
Yeah,
I'm not even joking.
No, for sure. Yeah,
I got some of my friends pissed off. I'm like, I'm not ghosting you. I'm replying to your text, but I can't hang.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this like actually started like I didn't want to like write anything like a new thing. I just started rewriting the rules because I couldn't understand them. It's just how my brain is, right?
Sure.
I have my neurodivergent brain. I'm like, I'm going to learn this if I rewrite this whole thing.
Right.
So I started rewriting the whole thing, and I'm like, oh, you know what? It makes sense if I alter this or if I did that. And then like 10 pages turned into 20, 30, 90, 100.
Yeah.
That's how it kind of happened.
That's kind of how I've been for a lot of my playing whole career. So I get that. For sure.
Yeah, no, actually, absolutely. Like, as Jamie can attest, I have notebooks that I write. And what I do is I write out the rules, even something as simple as this. I write out the rules. When Jamie did a very in-depth analysis of Trinity, and so did I. So, like, when we are going to run Trinity, we have all of these references to be like, okay, what piece of this are we going to take? How are we going to? So I really like that process. I think it's important for not only game design, but also to run the game effectively.
Yeah, and just like every single step that I didn't understand, I needed to have like an example of how it worked, which, like the designer, Emmanuel, is amazing. Like he created, beautiful piece of art and game, like really incredible.
Yeah.
So I know like the challenge to fit all that information is brutal.
This is dense. Like, I love it. I think it's fantastic. But boy, is it dense.
It's brutal.
But I do want to say your examples were helpful. I caught the examples, especially after playing on Thursday, the original.
Yeah.
It's your examples that you added.
I think so, and I'm like, when I was going through the process of it, okay, do I add examples? Do I not add examples? I talked to some people, and some people were like, why would you add examples? That's going to be boring for like experienced players, But I'm just like, you should never design something for experienced players.
Yeah.
At least that's how
I think that's true, but also I'm a fairly experienced player, and like still like I find it useful even just like have context of like what kind of thing are they talking about.
Exactly.
I won't necessarily use the example, but it's like it helps
still there, right?
it. Yeah,
context. I think it's valuable, and it's like and this was the best way that I could find to fit absolutely everything while still giving examples for like more complex roles.
Now for context, again, because I'm understanding this is also not the redesign. This is the first pass, right?
This is the eighth pass.
The eighth pass.
Yeah,
That's all I'm sure.
Yeah.
But
and we're talking about the character sheet.
The character sheet. I just want to point out that you've at least doubled the amount of content in the same space.
In the same space.
Yes. So that's just for the audience to get some context what we're talking about. There's literally twice as much information contextualized. It's a lot of the same stuff, but it's contextualized. That's really
I had to make choices. Like the cover, is no longer on the original CBR+PNK. You have a space to draw, and I had to make those decisions because I also like surveyed people, and I'm like, do you ever draw on that thing? And I surveyed. I know it doesn't seem like a lot of people, but I had capacity to survey like 12 people.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, I never draw on that thing. So I'm like, okay, that thing is going out, and I never draw that thing. So
Even at the 13th, when I played, I did not draw. And I was tempted to. I looked at it. I was
I'm a visual artist, and I still would have no interest in doing it on like a erase pen like little space.
Same. So I'm like, okay, so that can be useful for actually things that information that are just like relevant for how you play. So I have to make those like decisions. As a designer.
I also think it would be interesting that I find, except for one or two areas, I find you could conceivably still use the old character sheets to play this version of the game.
Totally.
There's only one or two pieces, but because this way you don't have all of the information.
That's right.
You just have what's in front of you. You understand what's going on.
That's a good point.
You may not necessarily have to refer to all this if you don't want to, but I will point out that there are at least 3 areas that are different, right? Which I don't want to talk about yet, okay? What I do want to talk about is I want to talk about your experience between Cyborg and this.
I mean, Cyborg was the inspiration for the writing of the book.
Okay.
So there's a little demo out that has about, I don't know, like maybe 20 spreads of the book. So, for the world building, like I think Cyborg was like this I really loved the just like minimal style of writing and very like punchy and like poetic and kind of like not, it's just like, it feels like a teenager wrote it a little bit, not in a bad way, just kind of like so like full.
It's form over function.
It's just like
playing the game on
like,
vibes.
The vibes. It's not very like it's not very serious, and like in its writing, but it's like deep and cool.
You by the way, we produced. If you haven't listened to it yet, we did an interview with Sasha Lightfoot for Ronan. Which is my favorite version of the Workboard series. So check that out just for context of what we're talking about.
Absolutely, yeah. So it was just a big inspiration as far as the writing. And I try to introduce I love the randomness of the Workboard system. It's just kind of like you roll the dice and then you pick a thing and this happens to you. So definitely like the Ripper Doc mechanics was one of those because CBR+PNK doesn't have a lot of like randomized thing, right? It's like if you roll 1, 2, 3, this happens, 4, 5, this happens.
Right. Not a lot of charts.
Not a lot of charts. So, but I like a little bit of randomness.
Well, I want to point out the Mona Rise, that the red setting book that we looked at is almost 100% chart.
Right. Yeah, I don't get that too much.
Yeah, but what it does is it's more like. Yeah. So just so you are aware, I don't want to misrepresent that second piece we didn't talk about a lot.
Yeah, but that's for like a world creation, right? I'm talking about like your character, exactly, how you're playing. Totally for world creation.
You know what? Right. And there's a lot of stuff that I think they could have had. You know what I think it could have had more of is more augment examples. I'd like to see charts for stuff like that. Like when I love that you should have a brand and what it does and like how it's different, right? Yeah. But I want examples of that. Right. What are some of the corporation names? Like, I don't mind creating it when I come to it. But I want
again context.
I want if I can roll and be like I like that or I don't like it. And then move forward.
That is also in the works. Just like examples of like real stuff that you can get inspired. You don't have to use them. You can get inspired by them. Right. And then these are the things that are pretty common in this setting. So we have that. I think that's very useful too, especially for people who are not accustomed to the cyberpunk genre, have never played the genre before. They're very confused about, I can just pick anything and I can do anything with it. It's a little overwhelming. It's paralysis, right?
Sure. Yeah. Also, there's it has both it adds an edge, right? But it also can have a narrative effect. And I guess it's a question of kind of like if you have some context within Cyberpunk, it probably helps with that. Water reflexes. I know what those did worse.
But if you think about it from the narrative effect, that's helpful because I struggled with it over the past couple sessions where not having that concreteness. So but then when I think about it that way, I think it really helps.
I'm such a huge fan of just lists. We talked about name lists. I think every game should have a name list. I really do. I think I think just lists of die rolls are nice too, but just lists of stuff just to allow people, because it does affect the narrative. When you're sitting there, you're like stopping the game to be like, what do I call this thing?
Right. Yeah. So one of my ideas to do on this was kind of like a combination of like just character examples, So I'm gonna give in the book a few just character examples, like complete ones, like with augmentations or with meta talents, and here are examples of how they behave actually in the narrative, because I feel like some of those arguments can be a little abstract for folks. You know, it's like, okay, but like, how does it work in practice, and how does that help me?
Right. How far can I jump with my augmented legs?
Yeah, exactly. And and how do they function? So I think those are good things too.
Yeah,
folks.
Awesome. Yeah. So Cyborg was sort of like your first inspiration, and
especially the art too. I mean, it's a different style, but I definitely drew a lot of inspiration from art, because I was like, I'm gonna illustrate every single page of this book, and almost every single page, not all of them, but almost every single one is illustrated. So
that's awesome.
It's like,
yeah.
I want to make a comment about that too, because you, as a podcast, you won't have the pleasure of being able to see some of this, but you handed us a bunch of character images along with descriptors about the shifter, the whisperer, those kind of things. But just the coloration of the art and the way that the characters look, I think that in itself is inspirational, right?
You do the whisper and the word.
Yeah. Like image.
Well, and I'm a big fan of maps too, but the way that the maps are also just fit right in and look very cool.
It's because so much of the game actually happens in your imagination. The image is so big and always have been. I remember like growing up, like the D&D art, like second edition art, like Larry Elmore and people, Kiki Parkinson, like they probably had a bigger effect on how I ran games in some ways than like reading like what was in the books, honestly, at that time,
Sure.
Like what's in the world, what's possible in the world. The art really helps, guide you without giving you kind of a concrete, like guide the way the rules do.
What brought you to Cyber+PNK?
I'm a visual whore. Can I say that?
Sure.
I'm a visual whore. Sorry, you can cut that off. And I mean, the aesthetics was number one.
Yeah.
I'm just, I'm the kind of person who buys things because the packaging is nice. I was just like, I'm one of those. But then I was like, oh, it's Cyberpunk. And then I was like, oh, sweet. And then I love the format, the pamphlet formats. I'm just like, professionally, I'm a graphic designer, I'm an illustrator. That's what I do for a living. So I was immediately like, this is beautiful product. And really just loved the system. And then I was like, there's things I think I can do to bring it to not just one shots, but more like mini campaigns, which is my favorite style of runs, I think, And
I love though that you have enough here that you could definitely run an ongoing campaign, but that you can really, I haven't read any, both playing Cyber+PNK the basics one before and running now. All I've looked at is the pamphlets that I've been handed. I haven't looked at any rule books at all. So I'm just going off of that, and it was enough to play and not feel like I have no idea. I knew what was going on to the extent, that I needed to.
And there's a lot of world building stuff that you can. That's the thing. What I'm going for, it's like, okay, you can make all your runs and this world, and then what's outside of this world, there's still cliffhangers, there's possibilities. It's just kind of like a build upon.
And that was the thing that kind of surprised me actually when I reading Cyber+PNK, like the pamphlet, and be like, so where's the downtime of the crew? Because I assumed there'd be a lot of stuff about crew because that's the big part of the sort of Cyberpunk mythos. And so it seems like you're adding that stuff in. I mean, delve into it too much because we're doing a one shot, but
there's some mechanics that geared towards that that we use was like the sync. I looked at that and I was like, oh man, that makes sense.
We played Blaze in the Dark, actually in the beginning.
And that was our second episode.
Our second episode was Blaze in the Dark. And we refer to it often. I feel like it's this podcast brought to you by John Harper. But at some point in time, I think it would be good to run it again. For Raffi, but also
I haven't played it.
But this is, I think, a really good start. There are pieces that Jamie and I really like in Blades that you guys haven't seen. I incorporated some of it into Otherscape. That Otherscape has downtime, but our playing the Blades really informed a much richer downtime where a lot of our stories were happening in downtime.
It's like that beat in an action movie where like you can't. I mean, some action movies are just all action, but like for the most part, like you need to have that pause if you want to have any character development. You know,
Exactly.
And you have to have those breathers. We want to understand who the character is.
Yep.
And you don't understand that when they're just shooting people and stabbing people.
Right. I think it's so important to have that downtime, and definitely like working a lot of cool mechanics with the downtime, especially with the factions. For Echoes of the Veil. And then also just like playing around with the idea of like progression and advancement, which is challenging on this system.
Sure.
But the sample, I can't give it away because then I'm going to give it away the twist of the sample run. But anyways, you know, like a few ways that we're like thinking about, okay, how can we go with progression on this thing? It's like, oh, okay, if you spend time, maybe in downtime, you know, trying to learn a new skill, you can redistribute one of your or two of your dice skills into another skill. But because it's a cyberpunk, you kind of lose something. There's always a consequence.
Right.
So it's not like necessarily like real progression, but it's like, oh, you learned something new, but maybe something else happens that kind of like muted your other skill. And then a lot of the faction mechanics come into play with downtime, because then you get to do your side gigs, your alliances, projects,
those.
like that kind of stuff.
I have one critique.
Please
your
do.
stuff. Too many vowels. You clearly did not get the assignment compared to the original.
Oh yeah, you're supposed to read it down.
Oh, I didn't know that. I'll make some notes on that.
Only consonants.
Only consonants. No, I'm just joking. No, I honestly, you really inspire me. Like, I've been doing a lot of work with Ronan. Like, I want to write Ronan stuff. You really make me want to write, unfortunately, because, you know, I don't have enough stuff to write. You really make me want to write like a fantasy hack or like, you know, something to that effect, because I really do like the system. And while I'm very much a proponent of tying worlds to system, a lot of people hate that. I hate universal systems. I really do. I want something that is informing me of the setting, which I think this does a really great job in. I also can see how you use this to express other ideas. I think you did a really great job building up magic.
Yeah. One thing I feel like I miss a little bit in the cyberpunk or sci-fi games, having a bit more on like what the like, you know, like kind of the weapons stuff.
Are just edges.
Right, exactly. And that's something I had wrapped my head around, like where I'm like, okay, is it 50 caliber weapon? That's totally different. And like, not like I have the inclination to go like full like crunch with it, where it's like I need 15 tables to know what happens when I get my gun. Right. But like, you know, I do like sometimes might want a patch or something or like make a different effect for a different type of gun, or maybe just leave it open. I don't know. I
didn't spend time doing it for like regular gear, but for the magical items, the weird mods and the weird stuff that it's somewhere there. Then I was a little more intentional about it.
I love the weird stuff that you do.
Well, something here that I liked that I think would be really effective, and you could do more of what you're talking about, is first off, I don't know, we struggle with this, and we talk about this with Otherscape as well, right?
Sure.
Because you have a pistol that's one tag, and then you have a railgun that's one tag, right?
Yeah.
And granted, you could build onto both of those.
Right.
I think.
But that's how I was thinking about my character, and it kind of messed me up a little bit because I was trying to like make that weapon like have 5 tags, but that takes up like so much of what could be character defining. You know?
Right. Yeah. And it's like, well, then it sort of becomes like the Ultron sword, right? It becomes like, all right, we're going to pull this out in big moments, right? And like, you know, it gears up and it's lots of electricity, and because you have to narratively bring in all of those tags. You don't want to do that every time. Right. And like this last time, you were using, we just played your You just use your little pistol, right? And you're like, oh crap, and you're shooting. But then at some point in time, like the railgun came out for a big cinematic moment, you know, and I think that becomes more how that gets used. And I'm thinking about that in the same way in using these squares. Because I like the idea that you have armor and heavy armor and there are multiple squares.
Sure.
And you have large weapons or multiple squares.
Right.
And the idea that you can upgrade for getting an additional edge. That does it for me. You know,
the two squares, does that have a different mechanical effect? Do you get
does a large weapon?
Well, it's like if you had a cannon, you know,
Right.
so it would make a bigger impact, right? You could destroy like a whole
Did you have a
building.
greater effect?
Right. You could destroy a whole building versus
So the
trying to
narrative scale? Is it narrative?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the impact in that case would be
gotcha? Yeah.
I think what I wanted to see out of this, and I don't know what you're doing, what I wanted to see, what I would do if I were to write something like this is I would more explain how to use the system to get where you want to be.
Gotcha.
Because I agree with you, but I think you could use it and be like, what do the squares mean? Why? How?
Right.
What
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't need to add much.
I don't think you need that
at all, really.
I think it's really elegant, but still has some system to it, you know?
Yeah.
And I do think this is a little more satisfying than text.
I agree. I mean, honestly,
a little,
I agree.
you
Mhm.
know? Awesome. I wanted to talk a little bit about how do you feel, Raffi? How do you feel cyber+PNK and Echoes of the Veil reflects the cyberpunk genre? Like, how do you feel like it brings to the fore this subgenre? Because we are huge cyberpunk fans, you know,
Same.
particularly Jamie and I are huge cyberpunk fans. And like, what do you think makes this a cyberpunk game?
I'm gonna go back a little bit to Sai to talk about this because I think it does really, really well. And we did talk about this, that, you know, cyberpunk is a pretty like political game up front, you know, like explicitly, unlike other genres that you can get away with it. And if you look at like Sai, when you open it and it's like system stage, it's like, it's one rule. You can't affiliate yourselves with the cops. They are the enemy. Period. That tells you the whole, there's only one rule. This is the rule.
Okay.
Are you on the same page, guys? All right. You can keep flipping to learn more about the system. And I just really love that because it's like, I'm like, oh, okay. Like that sets the tone for what the world and like, you know, it's like that informs me that it's like, oh, okay, I might be taking shitty jobs as a character that maybe benefit those assholes, but I'm not aligned with them. And I know that I can't be aligned with them. And I know that I can't play as them.
Yeah.
So that tells me a lot of things just from that, which I really love.
Well, I had asked the question over the past couple of days about the moral theory behind cyberpunk. And how this might, how different this is compared to, say, alignment in Dungeons and Dragons, you know. But I'm always sort of looking for that. And we had a conversation, I think it was offline, a little bit about that, you know what I mean? And how like it's based off of your creds, your reps, your debt, you know what I mean? Like to that extent. But then I think it's also helpful to sort of say, you know, here's the group. You know, otherwise you don't have that.
There's also like the inherent dichotomy of like most of the time you have to take jobs from the corpos or like even the cops or whatever. Like, you know, so it's like that sort of thing of like, you know, you're not aligned with them, but you have to work with them in one way or the other. Or even if you try to avoid it, you know, it winds up getting you. Like, and so
that's it.
Right, exactly. I think that's part of like the cyberpunk thing too, where it's like, do you become a corporal yourself, or do you, you know, like find a way to throw something in the gears, right?
You know what? I just as an aside, what I just kind of locked into is the get out angle. I love the idea that a failed angle roll or a failed epilogue would be sellout. You know?
Yeah, I love that.
That like we're trying to avoid legitimacy.
Right. Yeah, but you know, I think personally, I think, you know, the genre is not about like being morally sound.
That's right.
It's not about moral purity, you know, like you cannot engage with them, and if you do, you're a bad cyberpunk player. That's not what it's trying to do, right? It's like it's the opposite. It's like It's actually telling you.
I just like playing with those themes too.
Right. Yeah. But the systems are there to get you, right? So it's like no matter how much even you try to get away from them, they're still gonna have a clause on it because you need to survive. So I think it's important to make that explicit.
Yeah.
You know, like that's why I drew inspiration from like Psy in that sense. It's just like this is what it is. And this is what it says here. Also on the character sheet, you know, like what is the cyberpunk life? There's a definition of what it is.
Mhm.
It's not just like you're a cyberpunk runner, go be a punk.
Yeah. No, that's
It's
good.
like a serious thing that we're gonna agree on.
So high tech real life. And
Yeah.
Well, and I wanted to bring that in. Like, I think games have a responsibility, and I think this game does it very well with the player protocols and the GM protocols.
Yeah.
I think gamism says what we're trying to do is play the game well. We're trying to be good at this game. And I think people sleep on that stuff. Like, there is a way to play this game poorly. There is a way to not be in the spirit of this. And it tells you, hey, you should be working with the GM to create this narrative. You should be pushing towards conflict, you know, high tech, low life, right?
Yeah.
I think those are really important dynamics that I think people be like, well, I know how to role play.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think
Mhm.
it makes, I think when people push those things, that it makes for better games. I think it actually escalates the game beyond the players.
Yeah.
And I think that's really
I
important.
agree. And I think our flow of disagreement, we talked about this theme many times. I think for me, it's more like an augment. And sometimes you, tell me if I'm wrong, have the idea that the system kind of like can even support if people like, you know, aren't good players, a good, you know, it's a good system. It kind of runs it for you as long as you follow it, you know.
I honestly want to take like something. I think this is an excellent example of this kind of game that I honestly feel like you could put this in front of a bunch of honestly just shitty people. Like, not shitty people, more like shitty players. Like, I have no experience, maybe a bunch of kids, but they have to obviously understand
actually
the
follow it,
concepts, right? But like, people are really like, nah, like, you know, and we all have played with them, unfortunately. Me more than most of you.
Like cons.
Because I play stuff. But I'm not trying to be
Well, you can say new players too, because whether they're good or not, they're, you know,
But even
new
like I
players.
said, you have people who just don't understand you guys who telling me about that person who was in your D&D game.
Right.
That was like just on a different agenda.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's like, look, here is the agenda.
But I'm a lawyer.
Yeah.
Who's a rules lawyer?
You're writing the agenda.
Yeah.
You know, and where now you're breaking social contract. But if you're not breaking social contract, I almost guarantee you're going to have a good game of this.
Yes.
Especially inserting ideas of like where you have roles or lists to help feed some of the narrative as like, you know, prompts. I honestly feel like something like this as compared to, all right, there's an orc in front of you. What do you do?
No, yeah.
Crickets.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I really honestly feel like unfortunately, it's not a good way to test my hypothesis.
Well, no, but it doesn't bring up the same passion that, you know, and one thing I wanted to point out, there's some catharsis in this, and the fact that, you know, and maybe it's just the way that we played that I really appreciate, but the cyberpunk aspect of it, but also the way that this just drove us to addressing things that are happening in the real world in a way that makes it salient to us all right now in the moment.
So in a way, I agree with you, but in a sense, it's like, I almost feel like this may have the opposite effect on some people where they're like, I don't know if I'm ready to commit to that setting where it's like, it makes me uncomfortable that I have to like see the corporations as the enemy, you know, or like I can't, you know, it's like, so maybe it's not for us because we're on the same boat.
The corporation,
You know?
maybe the cops.
So yeah.
I imagine maybe being uncomfortable if one of us was, you know, was in law enforcement.
So in a way, D&D is way more approachable for people because it's high fantasy. Yeah, it's exactly it. That's the word.
A good number of players who are like, you know, Scott, I don't want to sit at your tables because I just want to have a good time. I just want to play an elf I'm skipping through the fucking forest, you know what I mean? And I'm like, you know, stabbing very clearly defined bad guys.
Right.
And I'm like, that's not my game.
Even when I run D&D, like I even when I was younger, like I could never play a straight, you know, I had to like clear it literally or figuratively. You know, where it's like, you know, the elves are the bad guys, it turns out, or like whatever it is, you know, like I couldn't.
All right, so,
You called out. I just have to recall this moment when we were playing D&D. You called out to my player character that I had just eaten a wereboar. Intentionally, and you're like, how do you feel about eating a sentient being? And I have to say, as a player character, I feel really shitty. like, oh my god, I did just do that. Like, holy cow! But yeah, that's the kind of thing that's not.
Yeah, but
We're trying to love, which is great. Yeah.
Right, but I didn't lift it for a while. But there are a good number of people, and rightly so. I am not in any way shitting on the people who are like, I just want to cast spells and wave my sword around.
Totally.
I'm not trying to be Matt Mercer. I'm not trying to, you know, do anything other than, you know, sit down and play a game with my friends. That is a perfectly reasonable. This podcast and my games are just not for you. You know, very likely. I'm not trying to alienate anybody. If you enjoy our anecdotes, that's wonderful.
Right.
You know, but I'm in no way pissing in anyone's Wheaties.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna like change anyone's mind, right? Because that's not. I can't do that for anyone else. But you know, you can plant a seed, and you can put people in situations where they're literally role playing the thing that they have never done before, you know, and that causes that uncomfortable feeling, you know, and then it's like, oh, maybe I can translate that to some of my interactions with other people, or maybe my brain's not open. There's so many possibilities in it, right?
Yeah.
So I think like playing it in this way where, you know, you're kind of like testing out, making people uncomfortable, like here and there. And I was just like, it's great. It's great.
And I want to point out, we're going to put in the show notes, there are several organizations involved in using RPGs as therapeutic tools.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think that's really critical, really important. All right. Well, thank you very much. Thanks for the conversation.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Thanks for the game.
Yeah. It's awesome. I appreciate it.
Very cool.
You have been listening to another episode of the Modern Mythology Podcast. We hope we gave you something new to think about that you can bring to your RPGs, writing, and other character-based games and art forms. Produced by James Kershaw. Soundtrack by Scott Landis and James Kershaw. For more information about this episode, articles, or links to our other related projects, visit modernmythology.net.